I like at the very end of that, there's like a brown. I wish it was
Yeah,
more pronounced. So it needs like a heavy guitar lick. Brown.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get sick of it at some point. We're gonna have to update the intro and outro, right?
We can always go back to me finding royalty-free lo-fi music on YouTube to use as our
Yeah,
intro.
for the outro. Yeah, you can do that now. Just send them to me. I'll just include it.
We've talked about doing Topher's Media Corner, and that's
Yeah.
probably what I'll end up doing for the intro and outro.
Oh, nice.
Because it's fun.
I'm sure
I like finding lo-fi beats on YouTube. Also, I think it's on Amazon that there's something called it's not Adult Swim, but it's related to Adult Swim, Adult Vibe or something. And it's just all it is just lo-fi music that you can put on in the background.
What?
And
really?
it's from Adult Swim. Yeah, I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
And it's license free or whatever?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's license free, but it's just like a channel you can put on. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, cool. You know, there's a lot even stuff that's copyrighted. If you put it on YouTube, they don't really give you a strike or anything or delete it. They'll just put what the song is, and then they might put ads for whoever the owner is and keep it on there. Yeah.
I think it just depends on whoever the publishing company is. Some of them are a lot more strict than others.
Right.
Like I know Disney hates it if you use any of their stuff.
Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, those guys.
Well, I remember when they first bought Star Wars, and a friend of mine was making like these really cool shirts.
Mm-hmm. Well, he probably got shut down real quick.
Oh yeah, it was like a Kiss. He had the different Kiss bands or different members of the Kiss band as stormtroopers. As stormtroopers. Yeah. And he goes, "Why don't we reach out?" I'm like, "Okay." And I found like whoever does licensing, and he's like, "Please do not release those. Things have to be on brand and blah blah blah." Like he was really annoyed. I was like, "Okay."
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
It's not like they know.
Well, we have a lot to get to today.
Yes.
So let's get started. And of course, this is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. It's easy for me to
57.
It's so easy for me to say now because the name is up in the top right corner and I can just read it instead of trying to remember off the top of my head. Anyway, that is I Want to Believe Adam.
Hey everyone.
And I am Tell It All Topher, and we're gonna get into it today, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 57.
Episode 57, a lot going on. You sent me a bunch of stuff.
Apparently all got deleted.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that offline. Reddit does this where they just delete things, or even comments get deleted because you sent me a comment too, and it goes, "This comment is not available," and this post has been deleted. Was one of them too.
I think I
do that.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, I'm sure we'll touch on it later. So I won't say anything because I think I know what the comment. Because I think I only sent you one comment.
Oh, all right. Well, there was another post too. Then
yes,
but you sent me this one also. This is an overlay X-ray of Nazca mummy body with Russian corpse found in 2011 from Nazca mummies. So you want to give us a background on this? I mean, I know pretty much that there's the Nazca mummies that we just saw right in the Mexican congressional hearings, and then there's a video. I thought it was from Canada, but the title says Russia, which is right here on the left. This is a video from 2011 showing that they found some being in the snow.
Yeah,
and then they're overlaying it, and this here on the right is the Nazca mummies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying it's almost an exact match.
Yeah, it overlays. I mean, obviously the overlay is not in the same position as the body that was found, but it's good just so you can have kind of a overview of what it might look like. It's interesting to me. All of these, yeah, that was pretty interesting. Excuse me. It's interesting to me that all of these things, and we've talked about this before on the show. You never know if it's real or not. And so people without context, if you scroll up again, we look at that photo on the top right.
Oh, wait, let me go back.
When that was originally posted, people can just go, "Oh, it's fake," it's some sort of movie prop or someone put together as a joke, yada, yada, yada. We don't know. We'll never know. But people are trying to connect dots and not create proof, but show the proof that this might in fact be real.
Yeah,
And
like
here,
what the hell? These three dimples here, the dimples here. What are the chances? I mean,
yeah.
unless it's
It,
just people with too much time and have time to do these elaborate hoaxes.
well, I mean, we kind of saw that with the MH370 footage that was really big for about 2 weeks before it was proven to be false.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if it's even like proven because it's weird how that's still weird.
Yeah,
It's like it
it's
was like
definitely
some random website that all of a sudden the guy found the clouds and it just still seemed like an op. I wouldn't put it
yeah.
past the NSA to be able to do stuff like this. If they can recreate the internet, and they do. Um,
That's very true.
and it's just weird. I mean, Ashton Forbes obviously is still going on, and now he's like a UFO guy, or he's in the UFO community. He does good work though. Actually, he shares good scientific stuff that
But
people should see.
I mean, my point is, we're unable to know what's real from fake anymore, and
Yeah,
it's not the fault of us. I mean, here we are. We technically have evidence, right? But
yeah,
anyone can just say, everything. If everything's fake, then you're comparing two fake things to make it real, and that's not how it works. Or they're
yeah,
both real, and we've been so brainwashed that anyone who looks at this goes, "Oh no, it's completely fake, totally fake." And all you need is someone to come out of the woodwork off of some random website to say, "Oh yeah, I created this from this short film that never occurred, that never ended up
right,
being made."
right. I
And
y-
then
yeah,
of course all the skeptics will jump on that and say, "Oh well, there's the proof that it's fake." So
that's exactly what happens.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
impossible to figure out what's real and what's fake. It's difficult, but it is interesting that two separate alien, I'll say encounters, even though we're looking at bodies here,
right.
line up so well in two
It
separate
is so
places.
weird. Yeah, like it's the same mold, even if it's fake. I mean, but these things are small. You're talking about a meter height,
Yeah, three
is
feet
what they
tall,
are.
not big, but I mean, and that of course goes along with what we know about UFO lore.
Yeah.
The short grays are about that height, so that adds up.
Very strange. I mean, just going back to MH370, like, still no one has come forward saying they did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where are
Yeah,
those people? There was that bounty that never got paid. Although I think Kim.com paid that guy who did the clouds because he was saying it was his images or his video. The
mm,
background at least.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think it's up to us and the community and people to not just take what everyone is saying, but to go in there and critically think and
yeah, and
investigate.
you've got to put your mind on that nice edge where you're not fully going, this is 100% real, and you're not going, this is 100% fake. You're
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
evidence from both sides and trying to come up with a conclusion for yourself.
Right, you can't be too naive, and you can't be too skeptical either. So it's a
Yeah,
fine line.
exactly. Nice
Um,
edge.
because both of them are kind of extremists,
Hmm.
right? The
Hmm.
bunkers or skeptics are extremists, and the people who are naive and that believe everything are extremists too,
Exactly.
right? I mean, it's too bad. It's just how this subject is treated.
Yes.
It's sensational. People love it. There's so much curiosity. Unfortunately. And speaking of propaganda, that's why this nonprofit seeks to unite Hollywood and UFO experts.
Oh
I
God.
thought I thought this was strange though, because doesn't Hollywood have a very close relationship with UFO experts since the 50s?
Yeah, I
You
mean, they
know?
always bring them on as consultants. Like, look at the Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, exactly. It's called the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. Stephen Bassett is involved.
I
That's
don't
what.
like that Hollywood's involved.
Yeah.
They have no business being a part of this.
So it looks like it's Stephen Bassett. He goes, a recently launched nonprofit initiative seeks to help bring Hollywood and the UAP field together. The Hollywood Disclosure Alliance, based in LA, California, is the brainchild of co-founders Dan Harari and Stephen Bassett. I know Stephen Bassett. I don't know a Dan Harari. Do you know Dan Harari?
No, doesn't even sound familiar.
Yeah. The group seeks to unite the realms of entertainment and extraterrestrial research to pave the way in fact based storytelling for what they believe is the impending disclosure of alien life by U.S. government and militia leaders. This
Hollywood couldn't
media
even
centric,
get they couldn't
huh?
even get Fire in the Sky right.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're trying to do too, is that they're trying to do fact based and not have Hollywood come in and, make,
Make
because,
it
yeah, you're
Hollywood.
right. Fire in the Sky. I mean, yes, it was scary, and he did say his encounter was scary, his experience was scary, but they left out a lot. There was humans in there,
Well, and
you know?
he wasn't floating around a room like crashing into uh dead bodies and stuff. I mean, it was really
Right.
like non.
The catacombs he was in or
Yeah,
something.
like yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the movie's great, and that
Yeah.
the alien encounter scene is what everyone really wants to see when they're watching that movie. But it was nothing like what he actually experienced.
Right. I mean, I just love the fact that they brought in humans to calm him down because he went crazy. I mean, they showed that part where he was trying to kill them, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But I love the part where they leave
He,
him
he didn't
alone.
he didn't
Yeah.
get a needle in his eye
No,
like in the movie. That didn't
he
happen.
didn't. He didn't. He actually fought them off and they left him
He
alone.
what from
Yeah.
from what I remember from his experience, he woke up and was freaking out, and they were both the two aliens that were examining him were just like,
Freaked
calm
out.
down, dude. Like they didn't say that, but they were like
Right.
backing up, hands up, kind of looked
Yep.
like freaked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Just had the hands up, like, dude, calm down. And they couldn't calm him down. So then he
They
went around the
bailed.
ship and he
Yeah.
sat. Yeah, they bailed, and then he sat in the chair and he said, "Oh, there were all these like
He found
navigation things in
yeah.
space, and then the humans come in."
I think it was just one, but yeah.
Oh,
Well,
just one. Okay.
there was the man that came in that had he thought the man couldn't understand him because the guy had a helmet on, and then he hung out with the Nords, and then they put him back to sleep.
It's so weird, man. It's
So
just
weird.
yeah. I mean, why would you leave that out? That is just fantastic.
Because if you think about it, it's not really all that. It would be scary if you experience it, but watching a movie, it's really not that scary.
Oh yeah. What's happening here?
And
All
it
right,
was only
so
like a 15-minute. He only remembers like 15 minutes of it. So
that's true. His story is something else, and yeah, now they try to theorize like why they actually came back for him because they killed him by accident, right? Because he came up to the craft, he was too close, some static energy happened, and it zapped him. Like
yeah,
it was all by accident. Yeah.
what the heck was that guy's name anyway?
Oh, great. Here we go.
Walton, Travis
On the
Walton.
spot, Travis Walton. Good for you. Look at
Travis
that.
Walton. Yeah, if we've talked about it on the show, but real quick rundown. He and his buddies were loggers. They're out in the woods. They see a UFO, and this
In
idiot gets
Arizona,
out of his truck,
Flagstaff. Yeah.
and gets under the UFO. Look at this, guys! And then it takes off, and he gets hit by whatever device they use to travel, and
Yeah.
he's injured. His buddies leave him in the woods,
They
and the
leave
aliens
him. They
come
just
back and
book
pick
it.
him up and fix him up, and then he wakes up and hangs out with he chills on a
5
UFO
days
for a little
later.
bit.
5 days
And he
later.
showed up 5 days later.
Yeah.
And no one has ever been able to disprove his story.
Nope.
Not
They
even
haven't.
Philip Glass. Fuck that guy.
They tried to. He has a great quote, by the way. But they tried to pin murder charges on his friends, his
Yes.
coworkers, right? And they're like, "Yo,
Yeah.
you guys are lying. You guys murdered him. He's in the." And they did lie detector tests on all of them. All of them passed. Yeah, it's a fascinating story.
And their
Definitely.
lives were essentially ruined, all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
That's the sad part.
But maybe Travis Walton a little bit. He wrote a book and stuff.
Yeah, and he got married, so maybe his life wasn't ruined.
Right. I mean, he kind of regrets. He says coming forward.
Yeah. Well, he was dragged through the dirt, thrown under the bus. Every metaphor you can think of.
What's this? The underground world and UFOs. Do other beings dominate the interior of the Earth? This is a great. He goes through many of like the lore of inner Earth civilizations. He goes through many books too. This is actually a really long article. Inner Earth fascinates me. Actually, Hollow Earth really fascinates me. I just love those stories.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy Hollow Earth, but people need to realize how thick the Earth truly is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure the deepest humans have got. I'm pretty sure it's a mine in Russia, and they've only got
It's
like
nothing.
a mile
Yeah.
deep, and it's like not even.
Nope.
It's like I'm not even
Like a
going to
hair.
venture. I'm not even going to venture a guess at the percentage of.
Well, it's
of depth.
nothing. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even. We haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Like even the deepest part of the ocean is really not. It is not that far into the Earth.
No, it's not. Not at all. Not at all. And all these stories, especially the ones from Sweden, the Admiral Byrd story,
Yeah.
Argentina. So this is because recently in conversations with the famous Argentine ufologist Andrea Simondini, a colleague explained to me that the next debate on UFOs puts the origin of these mysterious objects on the table and where my studies on the matter involving the underground possibility will begin to be heard. So obviously this comes in with a speculation of where they're from, especially, if they can't be from faraway galaxies or faraway star systems, where can they be? Is it an ancient civilization? Have they always been with us? And that's the inner Earth, right? Even Admiral Byrd.
Yeah. And we've I can't. I don't know if I'm either mixing up episodes or different podcasts I've listened to or documentaries or whatever. But there's a lot of speculation about, and people have seen UFOs flying into mountains. You talk about Mount Shasta.
Oh, there's definitely bases in mountains, yeah.
And the mountain up in Alaska that I can't remember of. I think that was from the Y Files.
Oh yeah, wait. Oh my god. Motherfucking Hayes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
See, if it wasn't for Hecklefish, I wouldn't remember it.
Exactly. So. Yeah. All praise Hecklefish. Did you see the newest Y Files, by the way?
I did. I really enjoyed it, man.
Hecklefish refuses to make a joke about the Clintons.
He was and he was so quiet the entire time because he told him to grow up because it was about.
He was really quiet. I kept going, why isn't Hecklefish chiming in?
Yeah, because he told him to grow up because he kept saying sperm. What was this?
Panspermia.
Panspermia. That's why. But yeah, he was really quiet that day. Also, here's a quote from Mac Tony's, the one who wrote the book Cryptoterrestrials and died when he was in his early 30s.
Oh no.
So before his death in late 2009, Mac Tony's was delving deeply into the enigmatic and strange world of what he called the cryptoterrestrials. Mac's theory was that perhaps the intelligence behind the UFO phenomenon was not extraterrestrial or interdimensional, as many assume or believe they are after all. Rather, Mac was following the idea that the so-called Greys and many of the other strange humanoid creatures seen and of supposed extraterrestrial origin were from here on Earth. And then he goes to Nick Redfern also. So, it's really cool. There's lots of books on it. It really is a great article. So I recommend people go through it.
It would be a funny twist of fate if we keep looking at space for the, origin of aliens, and it turns out they're below our feet this entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't surprise me. It's such a huge planet. It's so big that we have flat earthers, that's how big it is.
Well, not only that, and just like thinking about our Earth and how much of it, the oceans are largely unexplored. I mean, we keep finding new species, and I can't tell you how many videos I've seen that really creep me out, where they've got some deep sea submersible drone, and then they come across like some weird jellyfish or octopus that's glowing, and it's just like, what the hell is that?
It's so weird. It is really strange down there. I mean, that is an alien planet.
Now these are 1950s aliens.
Yeah, the humanoids in 1947. Yeah, they approached an Italian painter, R.L. Johannes, the Swedish ambassador representing King Gustav, requested an audience with the 33rd North American president, who was Henry S. Truman, to communicate an important message to him. Apparently,
Fun fact about Henry S. Truman: his middle name is just S, the letter S.
No, it's not. Is it?
Yes,
really?
It is. Look it up. Look it up.
That's hilarious. Because
it
flows nice.
That's a typo in the article because there's no dot after the S. It's just Henry S. Truman.
Oh my god, we should tell him that. That's hilarious. I guess, yeah. So apparently in 1942, while the Swedish government was holding a meeting at their palace, they were accosted by three strange beings described as, quote, yellow-skinned, flat-voiced, slender bodies just over 4 feet tall with large, expressionless eyes, and yet as human as we are, they said. His presence seemed like projections on the wall, such as the impression caused. So crazy, man. I love these old cases.
Just as human as we are. I wonder what that means. Like they have personalities and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, and they walk like us. They got hands,
yeah, okay.
Legs, that kind of stuff. Look at this from 1977. This book. Inner World Chiller Machine, according to the illustration of the Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher. Man, I'm sure the Vatican knows all about this stuff too.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have a peek at their archives. It'll never happen, but
just become a Catholic priest, and then
I'm not into little boys though. Sorry, that's a low. Supposedly
he's great.
That's a low blow. I apologize.
I mean, yeah, the low blows are fine. It's it's just stereotypes are there for a reason. Yeah. All right, moving on. Moving on. This another leak. So it's going to be very skeptical or speculative. Leaks provided to Michael Herrera by Black Project Insider. So it's going to be one of those. So we have major groups. The Blue Group, which is the above board black budget operations, right? They don't deal with non-human tech. And you have the Black Group, an organization started by the government in the 1940s to reverse engineer non-human tech. They succeeded, but over the various presidential administrations, oversight eventually got cut off and they became an unacknowledged rogue operation that operate on their own set of rules. It's that same narrative, right?
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is the the Illuminati, the secret government, the
Yes.
deep state.
The
I mean, they're all terms for what are
the same
essentially
thing.
this article or this
Yes.
post is outlining.
This international clique, which is probably ancient central banking families,
They might
because
have the
that's
name Rothschild. Who knows?
might, yeah, might. So here are the bullet points of information leaked by this insider. Reverse engineered ET craft, all right, nothing special there. Other ET tech, the flying crafts are some of the least interesting, boring tech available. There are other technologies far more exciting with more utilitarian use that could benefit humanity. All right, but no details there. EMP weaponry, all right, nothing new there. Crash retrieval program, nothing new. Recruitment, yeah.
Now, I found this the most interesting part of the post, and of course, it's the longest. I'm not, yeah, they talk about going to third world countries to recruit people, and they're looking for people with psionic abilities,
Oh,
extrasensory perception, telepathy, psychokinesis, etc. They're called P3 assets. Native Americans have a higher natural percentage of people with this genetic ability.
huh.
That's why they see their ancestors, and they're very
Yeah.
spiritual, stuff like that.
Uh huh. That would make sense. I mean, if like Western man or European men are just so far away from nature,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
we
a-
are.
and we make fun of these come on, you're not psychic, no such thing as that. So the culture ridicules that, but in other cultures they don't ridicule that. Like in India, they love their gurus and they love spirituality. And most, I think, countries
Yeah.
in the East are like that.
Well, what I find something that I heard a long time ago that I'm starting to believe more and more is that everyone is just a little bit psychic. That's
Yeah,
what a gut feeling is.
agreed.
That's what, you have a dream about something, then it happens. That's what deja vu is. It's just we've been conditioned to ignore this and treat it as a joke or just a coincidence and stuff like that. And
Yeah, yeah.
as you get more and more into this and more spiritual, you start realizing, there are no coincidences. There are no just
Mhm.
happenings. It's
Yeah.
and people have talked about it, and something I brought up on the show before, like the secret about believing. If you believe something, it'll become real.
That's
I
so
mean,
true.
that doesn't just come out of nowhere.
No, it doesn't, and it just shows you the power of the individual, and that, yeah, like you said, when you start noticing these things and start interacting with it, you'll see that the universe will interact with you. Oh, sends you different messages or opportunities, or as long as you're aware of them, and it just
Hmm.
happens. And again, no one can really explain why. It's just that it's kind of like we are co-creationists in this universe,
Yeah,
interacting with something with some intelligence, and if you just show interest in it, it'll show interest back. It's very
exactly.
um what does that remind me of? There was another book I read about just the universe and how about consciousness and the universe. It's two things, and that the reason why the universe keeps expanding is because it lets consciousness do what it wants, even individual consciousness or collective consciousness, and both love each other for that. Like the universe allows consciousness to do these things, and then consciousness is attracted to the universe because it lets it do that. Kind of, I'm not saying it right, and I forgot where I read this,
Well,
but
it's
it
almost
always
like
made
we
sense.
we talked last week about, or maybe it was the week before, about quantum computing. I almost kind of see it as that. If you've got one quantum
Oh
node
yeah,
in your head and the universe is another quantum node, and they're both interacting with each other. So
yeah.
the universe expanding thing, that actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and quantum, and yeah, a lot of people say that our brains are like quantum computers, and it's just the way how our consciousness is or our thought is, that we can do it in parallel. So that's what quantum computing does in a way, and why it's so quick is that its equations, the way they say is that it calculates on in parallel universes. Why that's why it could do it so quickly.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like right now, I'm wiggling my toes, and I encourage everyone listening to do this right now. As you're wiggling your toes, it's not like you go, okay, I'm gonna wiggle my toes, and then a brain, sends a message all the way down to your toes and then back, and then they wiggle. It happens as you think it.
yeah, you're actually visualizing it too, and it's instantaneous. Yeah,
Yeah.
and but that's why in sports they tell you visualize because it works. When
Yes.
you visualize something happening, it just works. They still don't, even though we have robotics and all that, and robots tell their fingers to move, and we don't work like that. They don't understand what does it when we say move the hand, move our hand, move your arm. they still don't know what is behind the intention to begin moving everything.
And it goes even beyond that. If you're some sort of fat orange rich person, and everyone tells you can't become president, and you say, "Oh, I'll become president," it'll happen.
Yeah, yes, and that goes for everything else. That's a great life lesson. Don't ever sell yourself short. Even if you feel like something's too far out there, or you can't get it. If you want to do it, just do it and see what happens.
Yeah,
See what happens when you go through go on the path, because you never know. Maybe something that was a long shot to you actually happens.
exactly.
So this guy's been showing up, Alex Collier.
Yeah.
He was in 2 articles or 3 articles this week, even though he came out in the 80s. Now, it's a little out there, I gotta be honest, but we gotta
It
have to
is
keep
a
an
little
open
out
mind
there.
with these things. Yeah. So ex-US soldier spent time aboard a UFO and describes the privilege of 92 days living with aliens. 60 years
Bold
ago.
claim. Wasn't this the thing? Is this the same guy that he was really only gone for 18 minutes? I was going to say 15 minutes. Equivalent to 18 minutes on Earth, 92 days on in alien time is what the article says.
Alien time.
But
I
I
mean,
mean,
definitely a different dimension.
we've talked a lot about time dilation, and how we've proven that time dilation does exist. I mean, we can't do it on a level like this,
Right.
but it's just like Einstein talked about it. I mean, we've known about time dilation for a while. So,
Scientists know about it exactly, and relativity, but
Mhm.
even we experience it with either when you do it when you're dreaming. Some people when they pass out, see their whole lives go through them, and it was just like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
People doing not peyote, what is it called, DMT?
DMT. Yeah,
Yeah, they would go through an entire lifetime in that 15-20 minutes, imagine, and come back, and they're like sad, and like they developed relationships and had kids, and I don't, it's crazy.
yeah, it's very bizarre. And if you read some of the experiences that people have had who died and came back, and yeah, I mean they lived full lives.
Yeah.
It might just be people who saw that movie about dreaming. Fuck.
Oh, not Interstellar, his other one.
His other one is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe they're spinning a yarn, as they say, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, too many people have come forward with experiences like that to not, think there might be something to it.
You want this one
Inception.
might be boring here. I mean, this kind of ruins it. Collier claims that his alien interactions aren't confined to this lifetime. He said that in a previous life, some 62,000 years ago, he was killed in a battle alongside aliens. I should be
Yeah,
laughing at him, but it's just, come on, man. Come on.
you have to. If something, this was what I've learned. If something truly insane happens to you, you don't sell the whole package. You have to do invites, because if you sell the whole package, you come off as a crazy person, which is sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I mean, because he says a lot of true things in here. I mean, let's take a listen. Let's see if he's even worth. It's only 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How they treat each other. Anyway, the first time I was brought on an Andromedan mothership, and they are 900 miles in diameter.
Oh my God.
Okay. They are completely self-contained worlds. Everything they need is there. I had to wear a belt so that it would keep my physicality together, so that I could spend this time with them. With the very first time I walked on, and in the middle of, they're made up of different levels. The craft I was on had 24 different levels.
How does he know that?
And
all right, whatever. I'm going to listen.
In the middle of these craft, there is a 21 mile by 21 mile park with trees and everything. Okay? And they use extensive technology and holographs. And they can literally create their sunrise, their sunset. Okay?
What's that movie? Wait a minute. Wall-E.
Oh, yeah.
Wall-E. And Wall-E, they had the same thing. It was a huge starship. They had like holographs. They had created their own sunrise and sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And the trees and plants grow because it is a holograph, but it is real, even though they're creating it with technology. The very first time I walked on, there were children. They teach their children in the middle of these parks. Everything's done in nature, like very much like the Native Americans used to do, when the teepee got too small. And I walked on, and there were a bunch of children there. And as we walked out of a corridor, down a corridor, and out into this huge space of what looked like, could be anywhere, like Agora Hills or someplace out here, a park, the children moved away from me. And I was like really hurt. I was like, oh man. And Mornay immediately picked up what I was feeling, and he said, "It isn't you. We have been teaching them about your race." It's really not all that funny. Okay? They were afraid of us. And these are children I have never seen before, but immediately felt our energy, my energy, because I represented all of us. And I do the best I can. Sorry. I mean, but I got my own stuff to work out too. So
at least he's got a sense of humor about it.
They're learning, and I'm amazed that they still want to come back and help. Another time I had been waiting for them. They finally showed up.
We shoot them down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
With lasers.
America!
Yeah. Fuck yeah! That's crazy how big the craft is. 31 days on Earth. All right. I remember there's another one. Oh, crap. Uh-oh.
What happened?
Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, I can hear you. Did you crash?
I thought something was happening. With a lot of tabs. So he's another one, but a much shorter one. WION. But I just want to see this quote here at the end. He says that our science tells us that there are 100 billion galaxies, but we're only looking at one dimension. He said in a 2007 interview while recounting his alleged experience, according to the Andromedans, there are 100 trillion galaxies, and every galaxy has life in it. As we are far from being alone, the universe is vast. We are just beginning to travel space. And then here, Collier claimed the aliens told him that the U.S. Army was far more technologically advanced than what the general public knows. I once asked Andromedans how technologically advanced we were, and they said that the United States Army is 400 years more technologically advanced than we think they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. I mean, we don't want those people, to be that advanced,
No, definitely not.
Unfortunately, they are, and it kind of like looks like it a lot because they act like they can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. Laws don't apply to them, or their allies, for that matter. They just gutted the UAP Disclosure Act just like that, right at the end, even though it passed the House and the Senate. That type of behavior just shows that someone is really advanced that's in charge and doesn't want this ever to come out.
Not to the general public, anyway.
Right. He's a great researcher, Michael Schratt. We're a big fan of his. He did a great presentation called Historical Legacy of Gravity Research. So he takes UFO encounters, right, from the past that he's pretty sure, and witnesses are sure that it's human. He's from the 50s and 60s. So he goes through and tries to figure out what type of technology they have. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. We can just take some snippets. But it's a fun presentation.
Inverted with these donuts. So let's do a zoom in here and we'll get a little bit closer. She's watching all this thing as these things fly by. Flew over the clothesline here with some of the clothes that were already put up. And she got a real good look at the bottom of this thing. And now you can see this coming into view here. You've got these Tesla coils, you've got these globes, you've got these donuts, and then separated by a black band. That's kind of what she's describing here. And let's zoom in real close here. Donut-like rings on bottom of craft, identical to a toroid on a Tesla coil. That's what this thing looks like. I mean, it's got a very mechanical structure to it. It looks man-made. Yeah. It even had this Aztec lettering on the bottom of it that looked like a ancient Persian rug, this hieroglyphic type lettering on the bottom of it here. Now, this is her sketch. Fantastic job on this. Just absolutely beautiful job. on this original sketch, and you can see these donuts with the inverted hieroglyphic type writing and the black bands between each of these donuts.
It's really weird. They use, I mean, maybe I'm thinking now this can't be human, because I mean, unless we're starting to do this too, but always with alleged alien stuff or even ancient stuff, there's writings integrated with the technology, almost like these words are technology also, like magical spells in a way. You know what I mean?
Runes. I
Is that
mean,
what it is?
that's
Egyptians did it.
supposedly. I mean, yeah, if you believe, I mean, it's so hard to say because a lot of ancient cultures, they said that there's a lot of magic behind the special symbols that they drew.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe it's not magic. Maybe there's something I don't know. I mean, it's impossible
Something
to say.
about the word. I mean, even the word spell. It's a spell, right? We're spelling.
Right,
And,
exactly. You
it's
cast
so weird.
I mean, and it's something that I know the Nazis were super into. They loved runes. They love
That's right.
symbols. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, and
look at the swastika. They
yeah,
they took that, which was a symbol of peace, and I think in like not ancient Buddhism, but I'm
it
pretty
was.
sure.
It's ancient. Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Even
turned it
Tibet, I
into
think.
a symbol of evil.
Yeah, Hinduism and Tibet.
There it is. Yeah.
Donuts. And let's see if we can figure out exactly what we're looking at here. So here's this side-by-side comparison, and it's really giving this man-made type conclusion here. So this is what the craft looked like. You can see that these lights were rotating, and she definitely said that there was this ancient Arabic language that looked like a border on a Persian or Oriental rug, or it might look like Mayan or Inca pottery on the underside of these donuts. Each one of these sockets had a different colored light on it as well. So what can we have a corresponding electrical component to this? So if you look at a Tesla coil with a top load, you've got the primary coil, you've got the secondary coil, and let's go to the next slide here. This is the breakdown here. Now you can see the primary coil, you've got the secondary coil, and then you've got this toroid. Is this what our primary eyewitness was seeing? These stacked up and a Tesla coil? Is that what she was seeing here? Note toroid on top, almost identical to what the primary eyewitness was describing.
Let's go to this case
now,
quickly.
Take a
this one. This case is pretty cool.
This is a Project Blue Book case. March 23rd, 1966. This is Temple, Oklahoma. Primary eyewitness was a man named Eddie Laxon. He was a private pilot. He had 5,000 hours pilot in command. He was working at Shepherd Air Force Base as an electronics instructor. So it's 5:05 in the morning. He's driving down the road. It's still a little bit dark out, so the sun was just coming up over the horizon. He's driving down the road, and something blocks the way he's driving here. This was a best way to describe it. A bowling pin tipped over at 90 degrees. This thing was about 75 feet long, about 9 feet tall. Over on the right, it had a bubble transparent canopy. The whole thing was propped up on what looked like pogo landing gear from the Lunar Landing Project. There were two beaming spotlights that were directly forward facing, two beaming spotlights vertically facing downward. After the front landing gear, there was an air stair door opened up. There was a man, not an alien, not an extraterrestrial, a man about 5'10". Sorry. He had two-piece military green fatigues on. He had a baseball cap with the bill turned up. He was shining a flashlight at the bottom of this air stair door. Now, Eddie Laxton went back to the trunk of the vehicle, was just opening up the trunk to get the camera. That's when this man noticed he was being watched. And we'll continue on here. Now, above this air stair door, there was a spire that swept back toward the aft end of the craft, and it terminated in about an 8-inch diameter ball. And that's what we want to look at here. What is this spire that came back? What is this prong and protrusion that we see on a lot of these UFOs? Now, after the air stair door, there was about a 3.5 foot diameter porthole window divided into 4 equal pie segments. Just aft of that porthole window, well, this would actually be starboard side, letters written in black, TL4768, written on the side of the craft. At the very end of the craft, there was what looked like flight controls that were way too small to be aerodynamically effective. Now, when the gentleman holding the flashlight noticed he was being watched by Eddie Laxton, he scurried up this air stair door. He slammed this door shut. Then there was a high-pitched drilling noise, which I think is fascinating because this pops up multiple times. This high-pitched whine, this craft levitates off the ground, sits there for 30 seconds, and then takes off like a spark in a grinding wheel. And this is in 1966. This is before Apollo 11. Let's go to the next one here. Enlarged view of discharge sphere at extreme end of spire/stinger. Is this what we're looking at here? An electrical discharge sphere, just like a Wimshurst generator? Is that what we're looking at here? Take a look.
Crazy, huh? He goes through a lot of these cases and just, proves that a lot of these they're human made.
Yeah, definitely seems like it.
Oh yeah, this one. Have you heard of this story? These were military
like a man-made component here. Let's go on to the next one.
This one.
Talked about this one before. February 3rd, 1983, Mobile, Alabama. Primary eyewitness is driving down the road. It's at night, and it's about 9:30 p.m. She hears this booming noise. Her car starts shaking, so she pulls off to the side of the road. She thought something was wrong with the transmission, so she looks under. Everything seems to be fine there. She gets back in, drives another half mile down the road, and she sees this craft above the ground about 50 feet. She gets out of the car. She starts looking at this thing at close range. It was about 210 feet long, 80 feet high. And if we start at the upper section here, it had a transparent section wrapped around the first 1/3 of the craft. And she said she could see what looked like 5'10" humanoid looking beings. They didn't look ET or alien. They were all wearing a one-piece tight-fitting flight suit. It looked like a sterile antiseptic environment. Below that, there was another transparent panel. Below that, there were what looked like multicolored lights, which I'm going to talk about later. Now, below that section was what looked like multiple sandboxes with protrusions sticking out. Then she said there was a door closing from right to left. This whole thing was fastened by what looked like bridge rivets and plates, she said. On the bottom of the craft, there was a gondola with the same 5'10" humanoid-looking beings. Now, at the very bottom of the craft, there were hundreds of these 12-inch by 12-inch highly polished reflective mirror devices in the form of a cross at the bottom of this thing. Now, when she's looking through the craft, she said she could see what looked like crossbeam and girder constructions or looked like bulkheads at an East Coast shipping yard. That's what it looked like in the interior. Now I'm going to go to the front view. Now you can see a front view with this door closing from right to left. You've got all these windows, these portholes.
I mean, could you imagine if that 1966 one is the U.S. Army? 20 years later, of course it could. It would be this.
If their technology, if the U.S. Army's technology is truly 400 years ahead of ours.
Yeah.
I mean, this is well within the realm of possibility.
I mean, Catherine Austin Fitz says it herself when she first researched into the missing trillions, that she found $20+ trillion missing. She said, "Where's that going?" She goes, "It has to be going to spaceships and off Earth bases, because we don't see anything here. Even if it's for say if it's deep underground military bases, that's not going to cost trillions of dollars, So some other civilization is being financed." And she says that the Federal Reserve finances this one and that one.
Wouldn't put it past them. Audit the Fed.
So yeah, definitely, we'll put it in the show notes so everyone can go and watch that presentation in their private time.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, notorious ransomware gang, claims it pulled classified top secret documents from U.S. intelligence agencies. The group said the data will either be sold or made public. Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said back to you. I said, "Release it, you cowards."
That's exactly what she said. So in a post on the dark web, Alpha V claimed that it has successfully pilfered 300 gigabits of data from the Technica Corporation, a company which, according to its website, supports the federal government and their mission to defend and protect America's citizens.
Well, it sounds like that is the right group you want to hack.
Right, and the FBI got in. Leaks of classified and top secret documents the group wrote. Oh, sorry, on this documents related to the FBI and other U.S. intelligence agencies. If Technica does not contact us soon, the data will either be sold or made public.
So dumb.
Technica develops advanced solutions for cyber operations. I don't think it's anything with UAP, right?
I don't think they found anything worthwhile.
Yeah, it's not going to be just on someone's server like that.
Yeah.
Fun though. They're trying to cash in now on the UAP.
Yeah, why not? Everyone else is.
This is a waste of time, but it's really long just to say that this person is a moron. The intelligence service is New York Mag, NY Mag. No, aliens haven't visited the Earth. Why are so many smart people insisting otherwise? By Nicholson Baker.
Isn't that funny? A lot of smart people
No.
say the sky is blue, but you shouldn't believe them either.
It's a really long article. He goes through it's a really good summary of the leaks. He has Corso in there, of course. Grush is in there, and what he doesn't talk about is he goes through everything except that the Senate gutted the UAP Disclosure Act.
Yeah, weird. It's almost like it doesn't fit their
Yeah.
the messages they're trying to send here.
Right.
It's
I mean,
just
if
more
nothing,
Fitzpatrick apologism.
yeah, if there's nothing there, then why don't you allow it? But rewrite. If he says that, then it doesn't fit this really long narrative that he's trying to paint here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to be skeptic, but it's just, I don't know.
This is what happens when you're not on the knife's edge. This is when you fall to the skeptic side, and there's no, you can see all the proof in the world. An alien can come up and shove his fingers up your nose, and you go, no, this is CGI.
It's animatronics. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's animatronics.
He even says that Grush's story. Where is he saying? Grush seems sincere and polite and cheerful. In interviews, he has said he's on the autism spectrum, which helps him focus. He uses military buzzwords sometimes, like near-peer adversaries and asymmetric national defense advantages, but not in an off-putting way. He says when he came to learn about the existence of the secret saucers, he was troubled and felt it was highly unethical for their existence to be kept from the public. He also says he has at times wondered whether he was being deceived. Quote, was this some kind of ruse against me? Am I being used in any kind of way? No, he decided. So this writer's saying he was.
This is just making me angry.
All right, so moving on. Well, he's an idiot. I mean, you can't sit there and not talk about what happened in Congress and Senate and the UAP Disclosure Act. You can't. Then you're a joke.
So this is great. This is out of Canada. Pilots describe bizarre lights and triangles over Canada and air traffic control audio.
Yeah, it's
62, go ahead.
crazy.
Yeah, is there any active military airspace just like north of Winnipeg?
No, nothing I'm aware of. You said north of Winnipeg?
Yeah.
No, not right now.
Okay. Lots of active bright lights, information, 3, and they look like they're at like 500 or something, just trying to figure it out.
500.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't heard anything. I'll check in with the next sector. That could be.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Thanks
This
for
is
checking.
no Canada.
Like Jim Carrey.
And you said around
Alrighty then.
around 50,000 feet, roughly. Is that correct?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah, it keeps being like 3 to 4 really bright lights, and they kind of were in like a triangle formation, and then it looks like they're a little differ for a bit, and then they disappear, and then they come back.
Drones.
Okay, thanks for that. I'll just make a note, but yeah, I can't think of what
Just
that
make a
might
note.
Okay.
Okie dokie there.
One Golf Victor.
Okie dokie there.
Go ahead, Golf Victor.
One Golf Victor, this is a strange question, but are you seeing any flashing lights ahead at high altitude? We just got a report from another aircraft.
We don't see anything yet.
Okay, thank you. They reported them as north of Yankee Whiskey Golf. which is the city off your 11 o'clock position for about 90 miles. So I guess just let me know if you see anything.
Copy that. So if we see anything, I will let you know.
Okay.
Ah, that's the Indian.
Winnipeg for Canada 786. Yeah, 786, go ahead.
Aircraft 12 o'clock, same altitude. Is that one ours?
It's a flare flight.
Flare?
Somebody from flight 600?
Yeah, check Canada 786. Do you see these lights, 12 o'clock? See something flashing light around 11:30, flight 600. Yeah, forming triangles, then flying away and coming back. The bright light that's coming towards us, slightly above us, flight 600. More or less 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 600. Take for Canada 786. Do you have any traffic out there?
No, I had one other report 10 minutes ago from a Morningstar flight east of Regina. Reported the same thing. Her best guess was around somewhere around flight level 500, and thought it might be somewhere north of Winnipeg. So yeah, do you have a guess as to what you might think the altitude is?
Hard to tell. It's because the evening. I'd say she's probably pretty accurate, but they keep forming up in a triangle, and then it's pretty odd.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the second report then, and yeah, there's no active airspace, military airspace, anything like that we're aware of. I honestly have no idea what that might be.
So weird. I mean, people will say drones, but you know,
Yeah,
at that altitude.
Did they ever? I mean, I was listening, but I didn't hear it. They didn't get anything on radar, did they? Or did they say?
They
They're
said
just
they couldn't see it.
Yeah, weird. Because you think air traffic control, that would be the first thing they check, right?
Yeah.
They just keep going. Do you have reports of military craft or something like that in the area? The guy goes, no. But you'd think well, maybe it just wasn't included in the recording. You think they'd check the radar.
They estimated the lights were all above them, as high as 100,000 feet, which is beyond the reach of most fighter jets. Two other crews also chimed in to say that they've recently had similar sightings over Canada. Whoa, man, that's weird.
Wait, scroll up just a little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them tonight, but we've been seeing those lights for probably the last 18 months or so, just for your information. A pilot on cargo jet flight from Hamilton, Ontario to Winnipeg reported.
Really?
So they've been seeing them for a while now.
Yeah. I've never seen them eastbound, only westbound, the cargo jet pilot added. And yeah, same thing too. Movement all over. Sometimes they make a triangle, sometimes they make a diamond and square. They're bright and they just appear all over.
And I know the first lady said it kind of looks like the Big Dipper. People don't know what it looks like. It's a square with a line that comes off of it. And it looks like something,
right?
Like a ladle.
A ladle, yeah, a square ladle. The company, but you're right about. Let's see. Here's NORAD. All right. So according to both the audio and written report, NAV Canada Air Traffic Controllers also alerted the military's Canadian Air Defense Sector in North Bay, Ontario, which is tasked with monitoring the continent's northern approaches as part of NORAD. Not typically investigated sightings. I'm not seeing any radar. Hey, research.
Yeah.
Radar.
NORAD detects radar tracks and if required provides a threat assessment of those tracks based on a variety of factors, but it sounds like they didn't.
Huh.
We do not, for security reasons, we do not discuss how NORAD assesses threats. Fantastic.
Okay, yeah, thanks for keeping us safe. I see it too. This is Texas-based engineer. Crazy, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, pilots are well documented in seeing weird stuff in the sky because they're in the sky.
Exactly.
I almost sent you a video. It wasn't conspiracy or UFO related. It was just kind of cool. Two MiG fighter jets out of Russia.
Yeah.
They flew up really high, so they were basically on the edge of space. It was just cool footage.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Yeah, the MiGs are really cool that they can do that.
Yeah, they're way high up, and like you basically can see the entire planet below them. It's pretty cool. All right.
Let me this.
Here's another post. In 1973, two witnesses had one of the most bizarre encounters of all time. Just as a side note, this is one of my favorite encounters because because I'm coughing, because it's so bizarre. So they had one of the most bizarre encounters of all time. They claim to have met a creature who called himself All Colors Sam. He was described as a humanoid cross between a clown, a robot, and an alien.
Oh, come on. That's amazing.
You should see some of the artist renderings of this creature.
Is it here in this video?
Probably. I mean, you could just Google image all colors Sam. It's weird. If I remember correctly, it was like two little girls, the sundown clown. Yeah. That was another name for it. Two girls were playing. They were playing out in like near their house, but in the woods, and they came across this UFO kind of like thing, and this robot clown alien thing walked out and hung out with them for a few minutes. Yeah, see, look at that picture. Isn't that weird?
It's so weird.
Maybe it was a little girl and a little boy, but yeah, they came back and they were freaked out, and the dad, listened to them, and they never found anything. But I don't even know how this story got a whole lot of traction. I mean, technically, this could be two little kids making up a story, but it's still very interesting. The little girl would be in her 50s at this point. This took place a long time ago.
1973.
Yeah.
And it had what? So the eyes were like this too.
Yeah, it was cut out like trying to had. Yeah, the face was the weirdest part.
Whoa, man!
Yeah, you should.
Look at that thing.
This is only a 7.5-minute video. You should check this out when you get a chance, because it is a very bizarre encounter. This is one of those goofy ones where it's like none of it makes any sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. It had a microphone. Yeah. It was talking through a little box on the ground.
All right, man. That's something. Someone terrestrial is doing this. I'm not saying it's humans, but like
that's some weird stuff. It's just high strangeness.
Yeah.
To find the book. After retrieving the book, the entity hopped away from the children, moving in a high-kneed leaping motion, reminiscent of an astronaut navigating the surface of the moon. It then disappeared into a small, windowless metallic hut that resembled those found on construction sites. Curiosity piqued, the children watched the hut from a distance. Suddenly, the entity reappeared, holding a device that resembled a black microphone with a white cord. The haunting wail they had heard earlier filled the air once more, sending the boy running in fear. Faye, however, remained rooted to the spot as the screeching sound faded, and the entity began to speak into the microphone.
Oh my God.
"Are you still here?" came the voice, clear and non-threatening. The children, now more curious than scared, ventured back towards the entity. The entity then wrote a message in a large, childish scrawl in its book. "Hello, and I am All Colors Sam." The children soon learned that the entity could talk without the aid of a microphone and without moving its lips. Its voice, though perfect English, was distorted, as though it was unable to open its mouth properly. The children began to ask questions, to which the entity, Sam, responded with ambiguous answers. Sam then invited the children into his dwelling, a hut that appeared to be constructed of wood but had a metallic floor. The interior walls were adorned with green patterns resembling dials.
What?
The only furnishings within the hut were a rudimentary wooden table.
Sorry, so you know what I just thought of? Someone needs to do like a VR game with all these experiences, but so that you actually go through them. Because I would love to just experience something like that.
That's actually a really good idea. That'd be awesome.
Right? Just take every single weird one of these and just have an experience, a VR experience.
Yeah, you could go and check out Betty and Barney Hill. You could do Travis Walton. You could do
exactly. Yeah. And fact-based, obviously, like the real things that happened. Like sit with Travis, get all the details. I mean, if this report is detailed too, think about it, that'd be a good project for us to grift out off of.
Of course.
Anyway, I've never heard of this. I've never heard.
Oh
all the books I've ever read, and videos and podcasts. I've never ever heard about this one.
If you go on if you go on Spotify and just type in the Sandown Clown or All Colors Sam, you'll find a couple. There's a really good one. Of course, I can't remember their name right now. I'm not a huge fan of their podcast, but they do cover a lot of cool UFO sightings, and they get really, really in depth.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Oh yeah, we did a poll last week or 2 weeks ago
Mhm.
about like what deep dive people want us to do. So we did. We got some votes for the one that won was anti-gravity
okay.
research for a deep dive. So yeah, let's think about that one. I mean, because and it goes with what Michael Schratt is saying, and there was a lot of research in the 50s, and then all of a sudden it stopped because you can see it in magazines, newspapers, and then all of a sudden, like mid to late 50s, black. You don't hear about it
Mhm.
ever again. So something happened.
The podcast I was thinking of that does a deep dive on the Sandown Clown is the Astonishing Legends podcast.
Okay, all right. So yeah, definitely.
Oh, here we go.
I know.
Cyberpunk future started, folks.
Elon Musk says Neuralink has implanted its first brain chip in humans.
Patient recovering well with signs of promising neuron spike detection, says Elon Musk.
Wow. I can't
So
believe we're here.
it's starting. You'll be able to listen to music without headphones. You'll be able to control your car with your brain. You'll be able to send your favorite tweets to your cousin. Who knows?
What's cool though is like, yes, even if they put a chip in your head, you still have to train the machine. So like I'm sure when you put it in, it'll tell you, okay, now think like you are moving your right hand. Think that you're moving your left hand, right? And then it maps how your brain looks like when you're thinking about these different issues. It might say like, think A, think B, think C. That way you can type, or think of this word or that word. I don't know how extensive it's going to go, but I'm thinking that's how it works, and it'll just
You always gotta play the tutorial level, or as I like to call it, the fun tag.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. You go through a tutorial with it. Now, these things do not have they cannot write to your brain. At least that's the research. I remember I researched into this. I got really upset about this, Neuralink and what they're trying to do. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to share your brain scans with the government or with the FBI or the CIA. And that's the problem here. It's not going to be, it's not going to be private. I'm sorry. It's going to be leaked, and it's going to be shared with another AI, and God knows what that AI is going to do with it.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, this is great news for paraplegics and, people like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Elon Musk said the first human trials would all be from people who had problems like that and were willing to volunteer. So it's not like, he doesn't call in his coffee intern and says, "All right, sit down in this chair and take this pill, and we'll wake you up in about 6 hours."
Right. I mean, it's people that don't have they can't use their limbs. So yeah, they need to speak to the computers directly. So it is a noble cause, but all these things start with noble causes.
Yeah, I mean, this is like if you ever play any video games that take place in the post-apocalyptic after the apocalypse, and you go into like some rundown scientific building, you'll always find a note that says first trial was a success. And it's obvious whatever they were working on killed everybody in the building. Yeah,
they're all like that.
Yeah.
So I received FDA clearance. We know that means nothing last year. So the implant trial is in September. Oh, last September, the company said during the study, a robot developed by I mean, look, it's cool and stuff. I just don't trust the people running the world or his investors or him.
Right.
He's kind of implying it.
And if I remember correctly, didn't all the monkeys he did trials on, monkeys kept killing themselves because they were in so much pain?
Yeah, and they kept dying. Exactly. Like one of them worked. So anyway, it's horrific. I don't know why we're doing this. I know he keeps pushing transferring your consciousness over to computers, so that's why I'm thinking where he's going with this.
Yeah, it's weird because all of these companies, whether it's VR or media, any kind of media, it's all about escapism, and this included.
Yeah.
It's you hate the world so much you want to change your perception of it or build your own, and that's what this is starting to feel like. And it's such a shame because all these rich assholes have completely ruined it for everybody else, and now they're trying to find ways to get out of the ruined world.
There you go. That's exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing. you talk about breakaway civilization. It's about leaving Earth. It's the same thing. They ruined it, and now they got to move on to the next thing. And they don't. See,
and there's way more than us than there is them. So they need to keep us entertained and distracted. And this is a great way to do it. Now, David Icke apparently is being banned or shadow banned on Musk. I mean, on Twitter.
Now I know what shadow banned means. Maybe some people don't. Could you just explain that so it's clear?
Yeah. So a shadow ban is not an explicit ban. Like you don't know what's happening, but your engagement and your reach will go down based on previous tweets you've done or people reporting you or something like that. So if you all of a sudden notice that people are not liking your post as much or it doesn't get as far, it's because there's a shadow ban on your account.
Yeah,
and this is what
your tweets or whatever it is aren't being exposed. They're not being shown to anybody else.
Yeah.
So you don't get a message that says you're banned. It's a secret.
Yeah, exactly. So David Icke says, "Oh, free speech. Elon Wef Musk will love this. External control of the brain, orgasmic." This is from Majid Abu Ammar. Real Wef video about brain trips. These people are insane. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year.
Woof.
Yeah, the Wefer is something else.
I hope they like the fact that I've only been to my apartment and my job for the past 6 years.
Yeah, but
so
it's your
data
thoughts that they're after. It's your thoughts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. And that's the other thing is you can control what people consume, control what people buy, and that seems to be the driving force behind all of this. But yeah, if all of a sudden everyone is thinking about M&Ms, what do? You start marketing M&Ms to people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something as simple as that.
And it keeps you in your bubble too. So, whatever you're into, they'll make sure that that's all you're hearing. It's like a punching bag, so you don't go and go on the street and demand things from your government. You're ranting, you're raving, you're interacting with people like you, and you get it out of you, and then you continue with your day.
Mm-hmm. See the tinfoil hats. I know it's a joke now, but it's it comes from somewhere. It came from somewhere. It came from this kind of technology showing up on the horizon.
And speaking of the WEF and globalists, Russell Brand was on Tucker. He had some, I think, 3 points here where the guy is so eloquent. He's such an amazing speaker.
Yeah, but he's an alt-right racist.
Alt-right, hilarious. I know. And the guy was Hollywood's. They loved him, right, when he was in
Hollywood's
Hollywood.
darling for like the mid 2000s period. Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's a recovering drug addict, and he does yoga, and he's speaking truth to power, and they can't stand it. Yeah, and not just that, he speaks truth to power with such eloquence, and the way he puts words together is not many like him in the world. So I'm gonna play 3 clips. I think 18 and 25, and then towards the end is another one.
Okay, great.
Tucker's doing really well. I'm glad he left Fox, actually, because we wouldn't see people like this. There's no way he'll bring Russell Brand on.
No, of course not.
And there's Russell Brand.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and play these. I'm going to get some water really quick.
Okay.
In the English-speaking world, ran Jonathan Van Tam subsequently took a position at Moderna.
There we go.
Risk category. This is the reporting of Li Fang on his have received millions of support. Well, it seems like groups like order to regard misinformation around election campaigning. It seems that this group received government money in order to control online spaces.
So if you're worried about the security of electronic voting machines or absentee ballots,
yes,
who are denounced by these people and censored by them.
That's precisely how it works. And of course, they employ former FBI agents, CIA agents. In a way, I suppose, what happened during the pandemic period, because of like the Twitter files, for example, we started to learn the degree to which the deep state were involved in social media companies, the degree to which they were censoring and shutting down information that we now know to be true, which it was, of course, you'll be aware that Mark Zuckerberg said we did censor true information. The category, in fact, of malinformation is information that's true, but harmful to the agenda of the powerful. Well, it seems like groups like Logically and the Public Good Project are specifically empowered to control, censor, de-amplify information that is harmful to that agenda.
And that's the shadow banning.
Yep.
You know,
that's how they
they
get
just yeah.
This seems totalitarian.
Yeah.
To control what people are allowed to think is, I think that's the definition of it.
What I've started to, I suppose that's what, in essence, what I've started to feel and report on consistently, as you noted at the beginning of this. I'm not someone who's affiliated organically with conservatism or what you might regard as right-wing politics, although I, of course, recognize the legitimacy of a whole variety of political views and the right of people to hold different views from one another. But it seems to me that authoritarianism now is being deliberately veiled in the insidious language of care, concern, safety, and convenience. It seems to me that we're in a time where we lurch from one crisis to another, that the crisis is always used to legitimize certain solutions, and a docile or terrified public is willing to participate in this proposed solutions that usually involve giving up their freedom. We are continually being invited to give up our freedom in exchange for safety or convenience, and it seems that this process is radically escalating, and I feel that this is something that we will see yet more of in the coming year. I feel like, you know, you've spoken publicly about this, that we're potentially on the precipice of serious, and to use your term, a hot war with Russia, and like that's being reported on in my country right now. It's like we're being prepped, groomed, primed for war is coming, that we're being kept in a state of constant anxiety in order to induce compliance, that the ongoing stoking of cultural tension is to ensure that people don't begin to recognize that actually we have far more in common with one another than we do with these curious sets of establishment interests that seem to be transcendent of national democracy. To be explicit, I'm talking about organizations like the WHO, NATO, the WF, and their astonishing influence. Added to that, the types of groups we've discussed already that have been exposed due to Li Fang's reporting, these think tanks and apparently independent organizations who are not independent when you look at where they get their money, big pharma or the government or the military industrial complex, or the kind of people they employ. People from deep state agencies such as the FBI and CIA that have extraordinary affinity with the legacy media and their ongoing agenda. So what I suppose I'm sensing is that totalitarianism now will not bear the inflections or aesthetics of the 20th century militarism, guys in medals with mustaches thumping their fists on a desk. Will be calmly told by gentlemen with beautifully coiffured hair or elegantly speaking ladies that just for our safety and just for our convenience, we will be returning to our homes. And anyone that has an audience or a base or an ability to communicate with people to disrupt those types of narratives will be identified and destroyed.
Yeah, like
well, there's certainly babies. Shows me like, oh, look at all of these realities. How can you live in the ridiculousness of their version of events? I couldn't have been more open and public about the way that I lived when I was younger. I was promiscuous. If anyone wanted to have sex with me, I'd have sex with them. I publicly announced it at the beginning of all shows. The idea that that was some sort of a smokescreen for criminal conduct is absurd. But I recognize now that unless you're willing to be a participant in these systems of compliance and distraction, then you pose some kind of evident threat. And two of the things I thought were important is knowing that you are not God. You are not God. It's not about you. You have to have
I'm going to rewind a little bit.
This
is important.
And clearly that's one of the wars that's being fought now. It is also a tool for informing and awakening. And I think that we're at this crux point. Which way is it going to go? Are people going to wake up to the reality that we are being confronted with, or are we going to sort of nervously cling on to the idea that somehow through comfort and panaceas we might hold on to some old life? Increasingly, I think, is over. I watched some of that speech you did in Ottawa or wherever you were in Edmonton, Canada, and two of the things I thought were important is knowing that you are not God. You are not God. It's not about you. You have to have some purpose in your life. And secondly, people must relearn a connection to their land. Our connection to our lands has been broken. Now, many countries, particularly in a post-colonial world, have complex relationships with their land. Sometimes that is a relationship with a land that had inhabitants prior to our arrival, or the arrival, at least, of settlers in your country, for example, or in Canada that you were describing, outlining. But we are divorced from nature. We are divorced from our lands. We are divorced from one another. And we are fed such an empty, hollow, vapid, phatic diet of lies. And you said at one point, oh, you should, this is this vast country. You could all have 6 acres each.
Yes.
And I felt like, the crowd responding to that. People are frightened of the people of Britain, or the people of America, or the people of Canada, or Australia, or the people all over the world. For surely those farmer protests are happening in Sri Lanka. They're happening in India. They're not just happening in Europe or Anglophonic countries. They're happening everywhere. They're happening everywhere. And I feel that that's precisely the direction we need to return to. Sovereignty of the individual, sovereignty and sanctity of the connection between people and their land, maximum amount of power in your own life and the lives of your community and your loved ones. Not this transition of power to increasingly centralized forces, and this infantilization and neutralization and castration of individual and familial power.
Can I ask you a question that you may be able to answer that I've been meditating?
I'll give it a go.
Wow, man, he said some really powerful stuff.
That was extremely powerful, and actually, it's super. I mean, the timing was perfect. We were just basically talking about this.
Yeah, I didn't know about the farmers too. And have you seen what's happening in Germany? No, it's right, France.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
funny, man.
He's so passionate, and you can tell he's angry about this stuff, but not losing his mind, foaming at the mouth. He cares.
He does care. He really does care, and you can tell. He was such a different person when he was in Hollywood, obviously.
Yeah,
and he talks about that at the beginning of the clip, how he used to go to the parties and drink, and I don't know what, and it was empty. See, it was empty. It meant nothing. To him. He goes, his life is so much better now, and that's why they're attacking him. Here to get into what this ultimately can be or is.
Tucker, I'll tell you that.
Well, you're just uniquely positioned to answer it because you've seen both sides. But so the things that the people in charge hate include nature.
Yes.
And the class of people who are most useful to your nation, you describe them. Cops, firemen, teachers, nurses, all of them are crushed during COVID, by the way.
Yes.
And farmers. And it's indisputable that if you don't have those people, you don't have a society. You could get rid of every think tank and every sociology department and every liberal arts university. You'd probably be okay. Get rid of your farmers, you starve to death. So it's not obvious why the leadership of a country would hate the very people they need most and hate the most beautiful and valuable thing they have, which is nature. Why do they hate those things?
It terrifies me to contemplate, Tucker, that people like Alex Jones and, in our country, David Icke, who, aside from some views that are impossible to corroborate around quite occultist and, shall we call them, marginal ideas, difficult to corroborate ideas, when it comes to the subject of globalization and the increasing authoritarianization of our planet, appear to have been ahead of the curve. You can see them 20, 30 years ago saying with the empowerment of NATO, the empowerment of world banks and the WHO, like this is extraordinary. And it seems to me that the disempowerment of ordinary people, the condemnation, the demoralization of the public to create people that just are weary and broken and if not enslaved, then so dependent it amounts to a form of slavery, cannot be inadvertent. It seems to be a denial of something fundamental that in my language, I would call spirit, the right to be who you are. That there isn't something fundamentally ugly or wrong with you, that you are allowed to be who you are. And I see that as a universal principle that will be applied all the way from the left to the right across various ways that people claim their individual identity now. It seems to me that, yes, that if you start to attack those pivotal infrastructural roles, I was struck when speaking to some of the people that you work with, man, that that's been a cop for 26 years in New Jersey, 35 years in the security services. Like, these are people that give their lives for a country. So to tell those people that your country doesn't mean anything, or to alter the meaning of what a nation is, or alter what your contribution has been. It seems to be about a kind of disorientation. And it's difficult, actually, sometimes. The reason I mentioned at the beginning of this rather corroming answer figures that are broadly condemned as conspiracy theorists, but then aren't we all these days? The reason I mention them is because they talk specifically about ideas to do with spirituality, morality, and ethics. And it's hard for someone like me to consider that the goals of this global establishment are anything other than power, finance, dominion. But when you talk about this loathing of nature, whether that's human nature or botany or the great expanse, it's difficult to think that there isn't something dark at its core.
Because there's no rational explanation for that.
There you go. And he screamed it. He's like, yes. So we're dealing with something dark, evil, right? And it's not just, these are not just words.
Right.
You know, I think they said that with David Icke and Alex Jones. And, you know, he doesn't get everything right. No one does either. And no one's perfect. But there is something anti-human going on here, you know, and it's strange. And then you have that movie, you know, that talks about this. Oh God, of course. The one that has glasses. They Live.
Oh, right.
Right. And
what a great movie.
Yeah. And it's something like that where, you know, what else can it be? Have they become so anti-human or so not human where they just have this disgust and disdain for civilization or human civilization? I don't know. It's weird. And
I mean, the only other thought is that somehow money is poison.
Yeah.
There's plenty of, I don't know if that's true or not. I was about to say there's plenty of good rich people out there, but I wouldn't know.
They don't say anything. Who's? I mean, I guess is that what?
Maybe that's the point. You know, if you're a millionaire and you're not flaunting it, no one's going to pay attention to you, and so the good people we never hear about because they're not showing off.
And they all depend on the same system. So, you know, even a billionaire or good billionaire, if he speaks up, I mean, remember what happened to Yi? I mean, Yi went really extreme, I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, he's an example where he started speaking out and they took $6 billion away from him, or revenue away from him, canceled contracts, canceled this, canceled that. So it might be that too. It's like they make examples of people and they just shut up, you know?
Yeah.
But is money worth it? I mean, and speaking of, it's weird that you said that, and this is the next one. Exclusive hotelier Robert Bigelow, the UFO guy, gives Trump $1 million for legal fees, and he also pledged $20 million to his campaign.
Wow.
You know, it's crazy. I was talking to some family members who are like really anti-Trump, and even they are thinking that maybe he's the only solution. I'm shocked. You know, but not really. It's almost like they created this situation to bring this guy back. And many people have been talking about this. You know, we've spoken about this on the show to make him look like he's persecuted, and you know, And but even like Rappaport, I mean, Rappaport hates Trump, but he's on Twitter making videos saying, you know, is he the right guy? Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent. Because what's happening with the migrant crisis in New York.
I know. And what's kind of on that topic, what I'm seeing a lot of articles are coming out and showing that the Democrats as a whole are losing, you know, minority vote. I mean, like Black people largely still vote Democrat, but more and more people are voting Republican, and Hispanics too. I mean, that's a complete lost. The Democrats completely lost that vote.
They did, for sure. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, most Latinos are
Catholic, Latinx,
or,
whatever we're supposed to call it these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Latinx. Even they don't like that. Like,
no,
what's
I know.
Latinx?
it's just another thing for liberal white people to pretend to care about.
And put people in groups. You know.
Yeah.
The first person that taught me against this decades ago was Ron Paul, talking about groups. Because they used to ask him, what would you do with like gay marriage? Or what would you do with that? He goes, all you have to do is stop treating people as groups and treat them as individuals. And every individual has rights. You don't need laws to put this group and give this group privileges and this group privileges.
Exactly.
If you just look at everyone as individuals with their own power and sovereignty, like we just saw Russell Brand say, you know, everything will be fine. You know, it's when you start like saying, oh, this group's oppressed, so they have special status. No, and this group's oppressed, so now they have special status. It just makes people fight, which is probably the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
That's certainly what it feels like. I mean, I just saw the article out of Texas a couple weeks ago where they were going to do, you know, I don't know what the proper term is, but a graduation ceremony for blacks only.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I mean,
I have it here actually. Wait, let's get to where did I have it queued up? Was it? I should have had it right after here actually.
But anyway, they banned it because of the new state legislature. But it's one of those things where it shouldn't be happening in the first place because it's just segregation again. I don't understand. Have you heard of the political horseshoe theory?
No.
Basically, instead of politics being on a spectrum left to right, it's a horseshoe where the further left you go, it curves back around, and the further right you go, it curves back around. Because the true far right, you know, your KKK racists, they want to segregate us. The far left loonies, they want to segregate people, and you know, and sort them according by race. And it's just like, okay, so it all becomes the same thing in the end.
Black only swim times, black only lounges, the rise of race segregation. Again, I have nothing against like every race wanting to continue their race, like none of them. Whoever they are, you know, I mean, it's their right, and if they want to have private organizations, they can. But to make this like on Canadian universities is a public thing.
Yeah, that's right. I sent this to you from one of my favorite subreddits.
Yeah, stupid poll.
Yeah.
Black only swim in Canada. As someone who actually was a black student in Canada, let me say that all three of us that can swim and are currently going to school in Canada don't need our own swim time. I promise. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just it's under this guise of equality or equity. I think they're calling it now, and
equity.
It's just so disheartening to see. You know, because I remember, you know, back as a kid, I was always taught to be, you know, you have to be colorblind. You judge people based on their merits. And now apparently it's racist to be colorblind.
Now,
you're supposed to judge people on their race. And it's just like, here we are again.
I think the term is anti-racist, right?
Once again, this is what I'm talking about when I say horseshoe theory, where the further left you go, you just become right again. And
isn't that like the Overton window where you talk about in a way? It keeps us in this loop where we just don't ever get out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of that's what the horseshoe is. It's like, all right, so there's no real exit, but it's a horseshoe that goes right back to where you started. But you know, when you look at politics throughout the years, it is like that. It's exactly like that, you know, where people that get in, they get in because the country needed them to get in, and then they take it too far, almost like for a reason. Then we go to the other party, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So annoying. I think people are waking up to it though, to the uniparty.
Yeah, I think people are starting to see it more. They're starting to get sick of it.
So on that note, George Knapp, for some reason, I don't know why, but he shared 3 or 4 different articles this week. So something's up. There's some PR thing going on. I haven't watched Weaponized this week, so I have no idea. I for some reason I can't. Nothing against Corbell here, what he's doing, but I just can't watch that show anymore. It just seems too sensationalist.
Yeah, no, I get it, man.
But I love Knapp. You know, he's still on Coast to Coast too, like interviewing people. But he did 2 articles. Here's one. He goes, "If there are advanced spacecraft, why would they crash?" So he goes through here. You know, part of the reasons why, and people have said. People think that actually humans were pretty unique in creating radar. Either that's true, or whoever the species are on here in the saucers just didn't think would come up with radar, because that's apparently one of the biggest things that brought them down. Other than nukes,
right?
Was the way we use our radar systems, because you don't see that anymore. They learned about radar. So he talks about Bigelow Aerospace here, which is Robert Bigelow. He talks about OSAP. So, you know, there's short articles, not too long. And there's another one he did just a couple days after. Who recovers unidentified objects that fall out of the sky?
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's building up to something here.
Right?
Yeah.
Like something's going on. So it was those 2 I found. I mean, we don't have to talk about these. We know.
Yeah, we've talked about them endlessly on the show already.
Right, but I just wanted to just point out that Knapp is up to something.
Keep an eye on him, folks.
And you know, it might be a movie or something like that, but
yeah.
So here's Richard Geldreck again on X. He uncovered, not uncovered, but apparently there's this at what university? Wait a minute, what university is this? But it's a ufologist. All of his papers, Archive West. Is it University of Washington? Oh, University of Wyoming. So all of this guy's documents are freely available for researchers. Richard F. Hines, his name, was born and raised in Seattle, Washington. He received his PhD in experimental psychology. He began work as a research scientist at NASA, where he worked on a number of projects, including Gemini, Apollo, Skylab, and Space Station Freedom. He was appointed Chief of Space Human Factors Office at NASA Ames in 1986. So, this guy's not a joke. He did a lot of UFO research. So, just going back, this is some of his sketches. Some USSR sighting illustrations from the Richard F. Haynes collection at the AHC, University of Wyoming. The materials concerning watching the disc-like flying apparatus at the area of Gibraltar Strait in June 1984. So here's some of those.
Yeah, really cool drawings here. Really strangely detailed and very symmetrical. I like it.
Yeah.
I do like so when we talk about UFOs, a lot of people think of discs, but if you go back to that last photo, yeah, that's the trail of it. See, it's got like kind of an engine thing in the back there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That's right. So it looks like just like an 80s cartoon, I swear.
Yeah.
So this is it. These are the two different ships, and this is how it moved. Again, it's showing like how it. That's like what Bob Lazar said, right? That it goes up on its
turns on its
bottom.
axis.
Yeah, the bottom of the ship does it. So we will link up all this stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. It's just more historical sightings.
Yeah, and that so much research has gone into these things. If this is not real in people's imagination, why would they sit there at university and this guy from NASA just analyze all of this?
Yeah.
That's why those articles are just so infuriating, because I know it works, because those that don't want to believe will just dismiss it when they read that. Like, I knew it.
Yeah. I hate it when they use that as proof, because it's not proof. It's an opinion piece, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So
especially when you look at the articles, and as you pointed out, they're leaving out, really important information that, goes against the narrative.
Aircraft sightings, 1914, 1917, 1930, 1939, 1945, 1998.
Except Foo Fighters and then Foo Fighters. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Split them up.
Yeah, so really cool.
There's Kenneth Arnold again. Yeah, there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Well, good. So, be nice to dig into this.
Yeah, maybe we should on some shows just say, all right, I found this on there. You sent me this.
Yes, I did. This is very interesting. 2 sculptures on opposite sides of the planet. Let me read the title. These man-made sculptures were made thousands of miles and hundreds of years apart, yet they depict the same figure. And the figure somewhat resembles a gray alien, but they both have the same kind of like goggles on their forehead. That I'm assuming they're goggles. I couldn't possibly
put them on their head. Yeah,
I couldn't possibly know what they really are, but they have a lot of similarities, which is strange.
So that's Mexico, China. They're exactly the same.
Very similar.
Is it really hundreds of years apart?
Yeah.
Hundreds of years apart. Wow. I mean, the phenomenon is global. And, maybe it just interacts with people that are ready. Maybe the Chinese were ready first. Maybe the ones in Mexico were ready first. Or
yeah. Well, and it was one of those things not many years ago. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I went to Cabo with my family, and we went to Chichen Itza, and we went and saw all the, the pyramids and all the sculptures and carvings and stuff. And, they had some really bizarre stuff. And I always wondered if it was, they were interacting because, these gods that they were making carvings of, could control the weather, or they said they could see the future. They could do stuff like that. And I always wondered if it was, aliens. Even then I was like, this has to be aliens coming down and us primitive humans not understanding. And so we came up with the idea of gods and being able to control all this stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's I think that's one of the reasons why they don't disclose too, is because of that. They don't want another like or cult or for them to be worshipped or
Right.
like it was in the past.
We have to keep worshiping the rich.
Yes,
Otherwise
exactly.
they
And
lose their power.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, you're on point. There it is. Yeah, they want to be the ones in control of everything. They want to be the advanced ones. They want to be our protectors, and because they know it's profitable and it keeps us in this matrix we're in.
Yep. 100p.
Oh yeah, I don't know about this one. This is a theory on how the Egyptians built the Great Pyramids.
I really liked this video that you sent. I found it very interesting. The pyramids are still, people have many different theories as to how they were built, why they were built. But this is a really cool, about 2-minute video that shows how it's possible they could have done some of the things that they did. And what I said to you is, if this is at all real, I mean, it is absolutely, it would have taken such a engineering mind to come up with something of this scale, because this is insane stuff.
It is insane. You see, so they're using like a huge magnifying glass to use the power of the sun like a laser, and they're laser cutting all these blocks, and it's showing people like how maybe they could have built the pyramids with this system. Yeah, it is fascinating.
I don't know. I thought this was really cool. And what's great about this is technically it shows what would have been possible with the technology given at the time. I mean, they're not using machinery. They're using, really, it's just a whole lot of labor.
It's a whole lot of labor, but not in the hundreds of thousands that they had before. But yeah, I would say tens of thousands. But this thing, that laser thing,
I swear I've actually seen, like, I think they have proof that thing existed. Giant magnifying glass.
Oh, you're kidding. I mean, it would make
I'm pretty
sense,
sure
right?
I've seen
Why
that
not?
before. I could be wrong. This would be so. Can you imagine being one of those guys in that line crawling up to the top like that? Oh my god! Or like they showed these guys waving at the top. I'd be like, no, I would not be up there. That would not be me. That's a long fall.
So nuts. But yeah, cool. You gotta love how CGI can like at least communicate these theories.
Well, and clearly whoever put this together did the research. I mean, they came up with something totally plausible.
Yeah, agreed. You also sent this through. Ancient Babylonian tablet reveals Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, archaeologists discover ancient tablet with Pythagorean theorem on it, but it's dated 1,000 years before Pythagoras existed. And I was reading through some of the comments here, and I think a lot of people have either earlier they came to the conclusion, or it's kind of common knowledge in the math world that Pythagoras, obviously smart guy, but the reason it became so popular is because he taught it at his school.
Exactly. Yeah, he brought it to the West. I mean,
that's essentially it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, him and many other Greek philosophers did study at the mystery schools in Egypt, and these are one of the things that he brought back to the West and to Europe. So yeah, so it's not too big of a surprise, but it's great to see proof right here. I mean, I didn't even know about this. This tablet here.
I mean,
look at that with the angles and everything.
It's just one of those things where people often think that our ancestors were these dumb, mud hut dwelling idiots that kind of lucked their way into evolving, but that's not the case at all. I mean, humans have been smart for a very, very long time. We just didn't have the, technology takes a long time to build up.
Yeah, and I think they had different technology, but what really gets down to it
giant
is
magnifying glasses.
Yeah, and I really love that idea because it's right there. Why not use it for, as a laser? But also, if we don't think they're dumb and stupid, right? And we say, all right, they're just as smart as us. That means we have to believe their mythologies. And I think that's where the disconnect happens.
Yeah,
Anunnaki and that history.
Man, I want to bring up Topher's Media Corner early, but because there's something you just said, but I'm not going to. I'll let it sit.
All right. I only listened to this yesterday, but it was crazy. So I don't even know what to play here, but people should listen to this interview. It's the alien face peelers in Peru. Crazy interview. George Knapp interviews this guy who's in Peru too. He's an investigator and archaeologist, I think.
That's the Green Goblin from Spider-Man.
It's so cheesy, guys. But I mean, yeah. So I don't even know where.
Hi, I'm George Norris.
Platforms from these hoverboard platforms, leave them in the jungle and walk into the village. Sometimes they would float into the village, and I heard several testimonies of guys who swore to me that they discharged their firearms at tall beings dressed from head to foot in black armored bodysuits with large helmets, as you described earlier, sort of oblong helmets with almond-shaped, yellow-tinted eye lenses. And they would one gentleman in particular was very adamant with me when he was telling me this, that he had his flashlight trained on one of these guys, and this individual, this guy, was floating off the ground. He wasn't on one of these hoverboard platforms. Rather, he had disembarked and had floated into the village because apparently on their footwear they have these small discs. So I don't want to confuse people with the platforms and the discs, that the apparatuses connected to their footwear. Those are two separate things. I think that they maybe they snap into the platforms and they can fly away at high rates of speed. But when they disembark from the platforms, they're still apparently able to float. They say about a meter off the ground. And this particular individual who I interviewed said that he discharged his 16-gauge shotgun point blank at one of these guys, and it knocked him back on his butt. But then he quickly popped back up into the air. He hopped up into the air and began floating again on these discs on the bottom of his shoes. I heard that from a couple of guys in the village, that apart from the circular platforms, that the assailants can float around just by means of whatever technological apparatus that they have attached to their footwear.
You interviewed one lady who said that she saw them jump over her house.
Yes, she was telling me how they're able to leap into the air with their footwear, jump over the house and then hover a meter off the ground. Now, when they presumably snap into these circular hoverboards, then they can move at high rates of speed. They can fly up into the air. They can do all kinds of things. They're very dexterous on the hoverboard. So we're talking about, I'm hearing stories out there of everybody, by the way, everybody saw the circular. I'm calling them hoverboards, but these are way more advanced.
Is that a real picture of
their
one?
capabilities than any
of the
I'm
assuming so.
In the commercial sector.
So why Peru? I mean, and he did interview these people, and they say, "Listen, we know that humans have jetpacks." He goes, "These things are not human. Like, we think villagers are dumb and blah blah blah. Or uneducated, and
Uneducated.
Everyone's got 5G, huh?
I was just gonna say, uneducated doesn't mean dumb. Just
right.
I know you're not saying that. I'm just pointing that out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, or not Western educated, but
Sure.
but these people are, they live in their communities, but cell phones are. I think almost every human has a cell phone. Every human has access to YouTube, and 5G or at least 4G. That's everywhere across the planet. So, they know if something is not human. It's not going to be like people are saying that it's the cartel. The cartel would love to flaunt this stuff. They're not scared or embarrassed.
No, they're not.
To flaunt what they have.
The cartel loves posting videos online of them killing and torturing people.
That's crazy. What's that one? I think we covered it last week. Is that one country they went in and started just killing military and teachers?
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad though. Yeah, you sent this one to me. This is pretty wild.
Yeah, so the moon is actively shrinking and crumbling, scientists say. Though gradual, the moon's shrinkage is causing significant seismic activity that could pose a threat to astronauts. Oh, is that an excuse so we don't go back now? They keep delaying it, dude. What the hell?
I know.
May threaten future astronauts. But DARPA's still going ahead. They came out with. Oh no, and China. China came out with an animation of their cities and how their city is going to look like on the moon.
I kind of get the feeling China's going to beat us to the moon. just because we keep pushing it off, and it doesn't seem like we're too. I don't know. It seems like we're more interested in the VR stuff or in the technology stuff in the human body part at the moment.
Right, probably because they already went across the solar system. They're like, all right, let's see, how can we further enslave them since they're waking up?
They went to the moon. We're like, boring. Let's go back.
So there's that.
Hey, it's just one big rock.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this is in the way.
That article did say the moon has crumbled over 100, or it's shrunk over 100 meters. I didn't get the year. I didn't know how long it took for it to crumble, though. Scroll up to the top. To the tippity top. Tippity top. Earth's natural satellite has lost as much as 100 meters in circumference over the last 100 million years, as this core is cooled. Okay, so I think we got some time here.
Oh man, I mean, something will replenish it, and this is some strange entities called obelisks in our bodies. Their purpose is a mystery.
Yeah, the human body is very interesting. Scientists discovered obelisks described as a new biological entity in the human body. It's insane, one researcher told Science magazine.
If a researcher says it's insane, you got to pay attention. Strange entities hiding in our guts and mouths that may represent an entirely new class of life if they're even alive. Oh, great.
Tiny rings of RNA can fold into a structure that looks more like a rod, hence the name. Surprising commonplace in our microbes. They've gone undetected until now and represent the latest discovery in an ever-growing list of, scroll down, mysterious genetic agents hiding in plain sight.
Wow.
The researchers who discover them report that their function, if they have one, is a mystery. Creepy.
Aliens
in the body.
I mean, viruses are weird too, right? I mean, even biology tells us they're not alive.
Yeah. Very, very cool stuff. I hope we get some more news about this soon. Just maybe they'll make a breakthrough. Because it's cool that we're still, we're still finding things out about the body. And we talked about the brain earlier. We don't, and even stuff like the human soul, like all that stuff, we can't figure out what it is. Is it just in our brain? Is it something? Is it an actual spirit that lives within us? I mean, a lot of it is kind of what people would call pseudoscience, but it's pseudoscience until it's not.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the other scientists use that to shut down research that they don't understand. Oh, that's pseudoscience.
Yeah.
It's physical law and alien intelligence. I mean, many people will say that's God, right? And if that's true, it wouldn't be really alien if it encompasses everything. So alien life this is from Tristan on X. Alien life could be so advanced it becomes indistinguishable from physics. Always watching, always looking. And it's mostly AI, right?
Yeah, this is a pretty good quote. For example, if machines continue to grow exponentially in speed and sophistication, they will one day be able to decode the staggering complexity of the living world, from its atoms and molecules all the way up to entire planetary biomes.
Totally, man.
Yeah, and as we know, technology grows exponentially, so it's not crazy. I mean, this is the whole argument about AI. The second the second a computer designs its own computer, humans are toast.
I mean, talk about a circular thing. It might be that, yes, we're kind of in an AI kind of thing that creates intelligence, and then that intelligence, after studying the universe, which it is an AI, end up creating an AI, which then does that. You know what I mean? It's like
it's like turtles all the way down.
Yes, turtles all the way down. Presumably, life doesn't have to be made of atoms and molecules, but could be assembled from any set of building blocks with the requisite complexity. If so, a civilization could then transcribe itself and its entire physical realm into new forms. And that's how they're hidden.
Yep.
So I'll link up the article. Indeed, perhaps our universe is one of the new forms into which some other civilization transcribed its world.
Yeah, that's a fascinating book I'd read. Speaking of books, I brought it up months ago. The three-body problem kind of touches on this.
It does, huh? So you said Japanese, no, it's Chinese.
It is Chinese. I didn't mean to say Japanese. I meant to say Chinese. That's my bad.
Now, I thought about that before we get into this, but I thought about that. And when did that book come out?
I think the first one came out 2008, 2009.
Okay. So when China was getting up, so when these things come out, especially in a kind of communist system like China, they're trying to manipulate behavior or entice curiosity in their populace, and since they're now catching up to us, they've stolen, or many of our black projects have gone over to China, leaked to China, that they need scientists and people to be interested in these concepts to work on these technologies, and since they don't overclassify things, if the people are primed for these I guess thought experiments or ideas from the three body problem that are in there, it could help them then discover how these technologies are working. You just need as we know, humans are brilliant if you just put them in the right direction. So that's what I thought those books might be just an attempt at the government to surpass us.
Yeah, it could be. It's human nature to, as you see technology around you get more and more advanced, and stuff is going on in the world that you can't either explain or you don't want to know. You come up with your own explanations. You get creative, and it leads you down this path.
Yeah, but I mean, for like the Communist Party to be okay with those types of books and ideas, it just seems strange to me, because they don't like religion there either, right? Or at least they don't encourage it.
I don't know. It's a debate for another podcast.
So why is this under plants?
I don't know. I was wondering that too. I was like, maybe that's anyway. Pelosi wants FBI. Yeah. Pelosi wants FBI to investigate pro-Palestine protesters for financial ties to Russia.
Russia.
So stupid. They don't understand. They don't understand people, have a very defined opinion on what's going on in the Middle East, and it goes against what all these people are paid to believe in the government, and so they have to blame it on someone. Is it our fault? No, it's the Russians, of course.
It's always the Russians, and this is Pelosi who is showing ice cream to people during lockdowns. If you remember that, so she's completely divorced from reality. Just like the French Revolution, let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake. Yeah, you give them sports and food, and they'll pretty much just do whatever you want.
Yeah, so she's saying for them to call for a ceasefire is Mr. Putin's message. Make no mistake. This is directly connected to what he would like to see, the former House Speaker said.
Because we're all war hawks here in the general public. All we want is just blood, blood, blood.
Russia may be funding pro-Palestine. It's not because they're seeing a genocide going on.
No, of course not.
It has nothing to do with that, right? They can't. It can't be just organic and people upset about this. So yeah, I'm not surprised that she would say something like this at all. So on that note, man posted YouTube video with father's severed head.
This is
ranting about Joe Biden.
This was wild, because you sent this to me as soon as he posted this video, and I saw it and was like, whoa, this can't be real. And you were like, yeah, it's real. I went back and was going through the article. I tried to go back and watch the video, and it had been removed within those 5 minutes. Of course, because you can't post a severed head on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, this guy here, what's his name? Justin Moan was arrested in Pennsylvania after his mother found the headless corpse. His social media shows a long history of troubling far-right conspiracy theories and talking points.
Okay, once again, we're doing the thing where, far right, yada yada, that's fine. But this guy had posted a bunch of violent stuff and said he was interested in killing his family. He said that, and he had been reported to the FBI, and the FBI said the line that they always say is, "Oh yeah, he was on our radar." Great job, way to protect people, FBI.
I mean, it was pretty disturbing watching this video. The guy was unhinged. He was drinking water every 2 sentences.
Clearly a nut job.
Oh, clearly. I mean, anyone holding their father's head in front of the camera and putting it into a garbage can is insane. I mean,
he went on a anti-government tirade pretty much, and he was one of the things that came up as he was trying to start a militia, which so interestingly coincided with the new bill that's trying to get pushed through our government. Paramilitary groups are illegal in 50 states. Will a new federal law stop them?
Yep. Now, of course, that was the same day that happened. They don't mention that in this article, obviously, but it's just weird that the timing of that. Maybe he's an MK Ultra plant. Maybe he's brainwashed or something, or mind controlled, and they activated him. This is clearly unconstitutional. It's I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but not paramilitary groups. Obviously, those are illegal, but militias are in the Constitution. It's written in there. So they're trying to outlaw militias.
Yeah. Well, and we had the thing. I'm thinking of the what was the one up in Oregon a few years back?
Oh yeah, those guys. Bundy, not Bundy. Was it?
No, it doesn't matter. But yeah. Well, I mean, people are getting increasingly tired of how ineffective and downright evil our government is, and and this is just proving how scared that the government is of losing their power. And they can't have groups of people running around trying to keep others safe or anything like that. Unfortunately, most of these groups end up getting infiltrated by the FBI and turned into an actual terrorist group.
Right. It doesn't mean that the government and a lot of politicians, I'm not saying the government, but a lot of politicians are corrupt. A lot of the laws that they pass are because they're corrupt. It's not in the interest of the people. It's the interest of not the people, not the mass people. The interests are always corporations or the military industrial complex. And they don't want you calling that out. I mean, if they just acted in the interest of the people, we wouldn't have these problems. If they didn't sit there and divide and truly cared about this nation, we wouldn't have all this. Now, this is good. You sent me. Student father arrested. RPGs found after threat to Rancho Bernardo High School.
Oh man, how do you even get an RPG in the United States? Was he? I can't remember. Did it say he was ex-military or something?
The father, 45-year-old Neil Anders, was arrested and booked into San Diego jail on several charges. They're not saying. Wait. No, not here either. Was arrested police. Yeah, it's not saying.
Anyway, more people who are, sick in the head. I mean, I never understood it, whether it's blocking freeways or shooting up a school. You don't bring anyone to your cause. It's just a sign of anger and pain.
Yeah, and the problem is the government always use these to make laws that we all have to suffer from when it's just a bunch of crazy people. I mean,
exactly.
It's not going to stop crazy people from doing things.
It's just like gun laws. I mean, people always talk about, oh, we should get rid of the guns. I go, no, that just means normal citizens are punished, and criminals will continue to get guns just like they always have.
Yeah, totally agree. Exactly. If you want to do it, you're going to do it. These laws are going to be ignored. The rest of the stuff is, here's this nice rant from a veteran about our wars and how we gain nothing from it. Like, what did the average American taxpayer gain from any war in the last 100 years? Meaning we the people, not the military industrial complex, not the parasite class. Not only have we gained nothing, we've lost our entire country. He's angry. Yeah. It's a rant. It's a good rant. Let's maybe not play it. What do you think?
Yeah, we can skip it. This guy essentially is just ranting about what we talked about all the time with war and stuff like that. So
yeah, and he went to Iraq twice, by the way.
Yeah.
So the billionaire owner of OnlyFans, Leonid Redvinsky, is not some random woman donating to AIPAC. He's allegedly the biggest donor to AIPAC since October 7th.
Huh. Weird.
Yes. The billionaire owner of OnlyFans is the biggest donor to AIPAC. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, he pledged $11 million.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
People
are noticing.
Nope, not allowed to notice.
Not allowed to notice. Well, yeah, these guys are noticing. Antiwar.com. Boycott Israel because it's the right thing to do. Now, this is a good article because usually libertarians are against these type of things. Like they're all about free trade, and this guy talks about that. He talks about how he has always been against, because there's the BDS movement, right? The boycott, divest, and sanction, which is copying what happened in South Africa, what brought down apartheid. So he was saying he was against that, but now he's saying, he goes here, the basis of my argument was that boycotts of this nature are essentially inimical to libertarianism, which places the individual and not collective entities like states at the center of its worldview. Furthermore, this view was bolstered by my stance in favor of Israeli statehood. The Israeli people, I argued, have a right to national self-determination, just like all other peoples. Why single them out, I averred, in a world where states routinely violate rights? Yet what happens when a state singles itself out by engaging in behavior so egregiously oppressive, so repulsive to the civilized world, that dealing with it in any shape, form, or manner is morally problematic? Israel has reached that point, a tipping point, as Chemi Shalev puts it, as increasing numbers of people the world over reached that conclusion. I changed my mind about the BDS movement aimed at Israel when I read Max Blumenthal's Goliath, Life and Loathing in Greater Israel, a book that tears the veil of Hasbara off the Jewish state and reveals the crude racism that energizes its policies, both foreign and domestic. So no singling out, just saying that it's enough. Everyone the world over is saying enough.
Yeah.
They just don't stop. I mean, I saw Finkelstein yesterday. He was just so upset and just saying that across the board, however you look at it, it's the worst. You know, more bombs dropped than Dresden, right? He says more bombs, the power of the bombs, more women and children, the ratio killed than ever. Just whatever, however you look at it, it is bad, and it's
really
still
bad,
continuing. Yeah, it's disgusting. And I guess if it wasn't for social media, most
How do
people
we
would
know?
not be seeing it.
Yeah. And I just keep seeing just just the horrific things that have that are happening. The people who are dying aren't militants. I'm sure some of them are, but a lot of innocent people are dying, even doctors and stuff. It's just it's hard.
Apartment buildings just being, schools, and now you just see the UNRWA, UNRWA, which was created after Israel was created, for the refugees, the Palestinian refugees. Israel said that they were used for October 7th or something like that. So we cut funding. So there's no funding now. So not only are they suffering with no food, no water, their lifeline has been cut off completely, and they can't leave. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's
to our Israeli audience. I don't know if you guys are Palestinians. I know some listen. I mean, man, first of all, what are you guys doing listening to us? Unless unless you see this side that we push. But I mean, man, it's depressing. It really is. And now, of course, we're going to war.
Yeah, it's really depressing, and it's hard even for me to talk about, just because I get so fired up and angry. And what can I do?
Yeah, what can we do? I mean, people are protesting. People are reaching out to their representatives, but they're sick in the head too. Like this guy, Brian Mast. The guy's crazy. Like he was confronted, and people asked him and said, children dying. He goes, yeah, they deserve to die. He literally said that. He's a representative in the government.
I'm seeing more and more of that sentiment pop up, and it's just, oh God.
And their children, Well, here's our last one. I sent this to you the other day. End Times Productions. There's something strange about the Iranian drone strike.
Yes.
Kind of far-fetched, right?
It is a little far-fetched.
This guy's basically saying he thinks that the Iranians have UFO technology.
He had receipts.
He did. He had quotes and stuff.
Which is a stealth drone. And like I said, we don't really know what capabilities it has or doesn't have. But one thing is guaranteed is that there are some very advanced avionics on board. And these avionics are classified, and nobody's supposed to even know what they do except for, the top people. So what happened was this drone was making a routine run in Iraq in 2011. And all of a sudden, they lost contact with the drone. And moments later, they realized this drone was in Iran, and it was being operated by somebody they don't know. It was flying. It wasn't shot down or anything. It was literally just like it was hijacked, but it's a drone. So the drone landed in Iran, and the U.S. acknowledged that yes, Iran has one of our top secret drones. So the story actually doesn't end here. However, if you think about this exact situation, I think it's more than likely that what happened was Iran was able to reverse engineer some of the high-tech avionics on this drone and utilize it for themselves, right? So if you take this attack that just happened, it seemed to be, it was an American drone.
He's talking about the attack in Jordan that happened. Just for our listeners that don't know.
Flying, and obviously it wasn't, right? It was camouflaged. So were they able to take that secure information, that radio signal that all American equipment has, the friend or foe signal, and duplicate it to kind of mask themselves and apply it to another drone for the attack? I think that's highly possible. I think it's also possible that maybe it was this exact drone, or it was a replica of this drone that puts off the signals of an American drone.
Right. And here's
so the third option is that an Iranian UFO or flying saucer either attacked the base itself or facilitated the attack on the base. I know that sounds crazy. Hold on. There's some very important information I need to share with you. So back in 2011, when the Iranian government took control of the American drone, what was the public sentiment on UFOs? It was ridicule. All news media ridiculed it. They made fun of it. It was the laughing stock of all topics at the time, right? And as we know now, we are in 2024 and things are a lot different. Not only does the news media take it seriously, but so does the government and so do other governments. And basically everybody in America realizes UFOs are real. Now, are they American made or are they not? Does America actually possess UFOs, crashed UFOs, or recovered discs? I believe they do. And a lot of other people believe they do too. But the weird thing about this is that when that drone was hijacked in 2011, one of the top Iranian physicists came out stating that Iran has recovered UFO technology, just like we have, right? Roswell and all the other things, Aztec, David Grush, all these things. Iran has recovered technology. And not only that, they were able to reverse engineer it, and they're flying their own. And believe it or not, this Iranian physicist came out and specifically said that a Iranian UFO, yes, that's right, a flying saucer, took that drone down. Not only took it down, it took control of it and then flew it into Iran, safely landed it where they were able to, you know, take it apart, disassemble it and all that. I know this sounds crazy, but you're going to want to see what I found. Quote.
That's so crazy. So you're right. He has the receipts, he has their quotes, he has everything.
Yeah. Pretty nuts stuff, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, I encourage everyone to go check out the video. It's not long, only 13 minutes. And he, you know, brings forth all the proof that he's got. And he's right. It does sound crazy, but it's one of those things where it's crazy until it's real.
Right. And then just finally, just really quickly, I love this thing. I played around with it last night. This tool, it's called radio.garden. And you can go state to state, country to country, radios, and just listen to different radio stations.
Oh, what? That is cool.
Yeah, I sent this to you last night. So this was Roswell, and this is in Roswell. Here's an example.
So, and it's live, right?
Yes, it's all live. It's all live, and you
That
can
is so
go
cool.
to. I actually went. I wanted to listen to like what's happening, like in Yemen and stuff. Anyway,
Dr.
yeah.
Dick's Dub Shack.
Bermuda. Yeah, and this Middle East, Africa, and just islands like in the middle of nowhere, like this island. I think this is Mauritius or something. Seychelles.
No one could kill you.
Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
Barring Western music, but you can listen to all these across the globe. Really cool.
Sorry, once again, what's that website called?
It's radio.garden.
That is fun stuff.
Yeah, you should check it out.
I'm gonna show the people that at work because we love listening to music in the office.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, so what brought this up? Someone on X, I forgot where I saw it. Sorry, but he found a radio station in an island in Alaska with. Well, he says it's probably like it's probably disseminating this signal to like a few hundred people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I thought that was amazing.
That actually, I would love to have that job. Be a small town DJ, radio DJ.
Hey, I mean,
It'd be a lot of fun.
You have the skills for it. and I don't think this civilization we're in is going to continue the way it is. So it might as well.
Yeah.
We're still going to want radio stations, local radio stations. Everything is going to become local, is what I'm saying. Like this whole international thing, it's just unstable, not sustainable.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
We shall see.
I
I
think
mean, already 2024 is looking insane.
And we're just out of January, squeaking into February here. Yeah, it's been a wild 2024, but I think the next few years are going to be very, very interesting up until 2030. And I think
2030,
we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff is happening. Put it that way. Stuff is happening.
Yeah, I've been seeing like World War by 2026.
Yeah, I mean, all these conflicts are happening. I mean, it started with Ukraine, Russia. Now, of course, we've got Palestine and Israel. We're now dealing with the crisis at our southern border. Even people on the left are coming out against it.
Yeah. All this stuff happens always when disclosure starts coming out,
Yeah.
Always.
Well, I think it's just a pendulum. I mean, you talked about it earlier, everyone's sick of the left, so they go to the right, and then everyone's sick of the right, so they go back to the left. I think we're going to see I think this next election will be very telling to see what the next few years hold. But either way, we're screwed. I mean, Republicans and Democrats, as we've proven time and time again, work together to screw the common man.
Yeah, and who knows what they're going to pull off next, because the bank's now having problems again, and
I mean, I've even
kind of warning against it.
I've even seen stirrings of COVID 2.0 coming out. I mean, they're throwing whatever at the wall and seeing what sticks.
What scares me is that it's always a surprise. It's always something that we don't think of. It's always something new. So I don't even want to know what this one is. I don't. Like, what could be worse than COVID, man? That was hell.
Well, remember murder hornets were a thing, like right on the beginning of.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And then that went away really quick.
Right.
My money is on Sasquatch invasion. No one would see that coming.
Sasquatch invasion.
Or we'll get. Have you seen the movie The Mist?
The Mist?
Yeah.
No, I guess I haven't. If I don't remember it.
It's based on a Stephen King book. The movie's a lot better than the book. Anyway, it's about the U.S. government accidentally opens an interdimensional portal and all these monsters come out.
Well, let's do Topher's Corner.
Topher's Media Corner. Okay, so first of all, I've got a movie that I guess you could kind of see it in the conspiracy field, but it's not really related to what we talk about. But I watched it on Hulu the other day. It's really good. It's called Self-Reliance. It's about a guy who joins a dark web live game, and it's a movie really that's about mental health, and I really liked it. I like the main actor. He's Nick on New Girl, if you've ever watched that. I think his name is Jake Johnson or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it's fun movie.
Self-Reliance?
Reliance.
Self-Reliance. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good. And then I watched something that I thought was going to be a UFO movie, but it turns out to be something different. It was like a C+, B-. Acting is not great. And I'm not even sure I would recommend it. It's called Imminence.
Okay.
It's
is
about
it Hulu as well, you said?
Huh?
Is it Hulu as well?
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu. But it's about a group of UFO researchers on a boat in the ocean.
Okay. Did you watch Tetris?
Tetris? No, I didn't.
It's an Apple movie. Fantastic.
Really?
It is such a good, very well written, amazing acting, and it just shows you how the difference of the Soviet system and our capitalist system here.
Oh,
I mean, it's got comedy in there too and drama. It's really good.
Interesting.
On Apple TV.
I'm also in the middle of a book that I'm really enjoying called, I'm listening to the audiobook. It's called 14. It's about a man who moves into an apartment building in LA, and he and his neighbors discover some sort of weird mystery conspiracy thing that's going on with the building.
Oh,
and I don't know how it ends, but I mean, the
is
journey
like a ghost thing?
I'm not going to say what it is.
All right. Interesting.
The journey has been fantastic. I don't know. I can't say anything about the destination yet because I haven't gotten there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. I'm listening to a lot of Audible books too. I like Audible.
Yeah, I do too. I just like, like for instance, yesterday I was bored sitting around, and so I just put on my headphones and went for an hour and a half walk and just listened to my book. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great for that. And I was always worried. I'm like, I like reading because it helps with my writing to improve my writing. But I
Exactly.
think also if you're listening, it's still someone's writing. So it could still help in a way because writing is also our thoughts. So
Yes.
unless I'm just making excuses for for listening instead of reading. But man, it's just so much better because you can do something while also reading a book. I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, when you read a book, you have to sit down and read it. You can't be doing something else while also consuming the book.
Exactly.
So that's why Audible is great.
And
Right,
then
awesome, man.
I've got one last movie recommendation because I don't think I've recommended it on the show, but it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's called The Void.
Yeah.
It is a very cosmic horror, Cthulhu type horror. What's that guy's name who wrote about
I think I
Cthulhu?
watched it.
I might have already recommended it, but I saw, I was scrolling through movies last night and I saw it and I was like, oh man, I love that. And I almost watched it again because it's so good. It's really scary. About a guy, it's about a police officer who transports a drug addict to a hospital and things go very spooky very quickly.
Oh yeah, I did watch this. This is really good. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me to watch it.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
I'm
a
sure I
great
did.
movie. Yeah.
My first stint in rehab, we had like every other night, me and my group of friends there, we'd always watch a movie. And I remember I recommended that one. We all sat down and watched it, and everyone was like, "Whoa, how have I never heard of this?" Because everyone is into horror movies there for some reason.
It's a good movie.
It's
Highly recommend. I recommend it too. Yeah, it's a lot
it's
of fun.
great.
There's a lot of cool concepts in there, like original
Yes.
concepts. Very cool.
Lovecraftian horror.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love Lovecraftian horror. Oh,
Me
okay,
too.
fine. I got one more Lovecraftian horror. Underwater with the girl from Twilight. She actually puts in a fantastic performance. Underwater.
Really?
It's actually, you would get a kick out of this. It takes place on a underwater research base deep in the Mariana Trench.
Ooh.
And things
Underwater.
don't go as expected.
William Eubank.
That movie, that's on Amazon, I believe. I think you know what? It's on Hulu as well. But you don't have
Man,
Hulu.
I don't have Hulu. That's why I didn't watch the other movie you told me about. I kept trying to buy it and I couldn't buy it anywhere.
Oh, No One Will Save You.
Yes, that one.
Oh man, that's too bad because you get a kick out of that one. But
how come they don't make these movies available for like purchase on other
well,
platforms?
because
Weird.
it's an exclusive thing. I'm sure in about a year and a half you'll be able to buy it on Amazon.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna watch this one now. Underwater.
Yeah, that I think is on Amazon also.
Okay.
Or I bought
Nice.
it. I can't remember. Yeah, but
well, we were talking about this offline. I told you to start Twin Peaks because it mixes all this in there. It mixes the military industrial complex, nukes, aliens, and the west, not the West, but Western United States, and demonology, I would say, and masonry and the occult. And, like, it's all in there, and it's just yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to start it. I mean, I would love to watch it with you too.
So what's funny, I can't remember if I told you this or not. Maybe 7-8 years ago, I started watching the first season, and it was like so much relationship drama, and I ended up I got like 7 or 8 episodes in and was liking all the cool mystery stuff, but there was just so much like relationship stuff, and I was just like, I don't care about that. Show me the cool spooky stuff. So I'll give it another shot. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I brought up that. Now I can't even remember. I brought up the thing last week that we were supposed to talk about this week, but we both totally spaced on it. From the book Them by Whitley Strieber. Shalish. Yeah, I didn't do any research on that, so we'll save that for another week.
Okay. And Twin Peaks, the movie, it's called Fire Walk with Me. You should probably start there first before you do the series. Sweet. Wow. Is this our longest episode ever?
It's getting there. We covered a lot this week on the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. We want to thank you all so much for listening. As always, reach out to us on Spotify. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Rate us, please. Give us as many stars as we deserve. All of them.
Yep.
And reach out to us on X.
Reach out to us on X. I mean, share the podcast. Share our YouTube videos with friends and family or people that you think might be interested in it. I know we have a constant audience, so let's grow the audience. Let's get this information out there. Whatever the content is, we're going to cover it. We're not going to be skeptics, and we're not going to be naive either.
We're going to walk on that knife's edge, baby.
Yeah, we'll try our best. We'll try our best in doing that. And yeah, you can reach out to us on X at UAP the podcast. We're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, we're on all podcasting platforms also. So hit us up, let us know how we're doing, and follow us and spread the word. Support us too if you can.
Yeah, spread the good word. Yeah, tell a friend about the show. Be like, hey, these two idiots are talking about cool UFO stuff.
Right, they're uncovering anomalies.
Yeah, so many anomalies.
Well, cool. That was fun, cuz.
Yeah, I had a good time. Yeah, it's been one of our longer episodes, but we were both on fuego this week with sending each other content, which is always good. That means there's a lot of stuff going on, and the show won't be boring. That's for sure.
And we're bracing ourselves here for a crazy storm. Nothing's happened yet. Hopefully, it was just hype, and nothing's gonna happen. Who knows?
Yeah, no, but I've been listening to it get windier and windier and rainier and stuff behind me in my window.
Oh man, well, brace for it.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Well,
that's
next week is
That's I Want to Believe Adam. I'm Tell It All Topher, in case you've gotten this far and forgot what our names are.
Well, tomorrow, next week is Super Bowl Sunday, so I guess
Sunday.
So
Yeah, maybe we'll try and
do an
upload
early morning one or Saturday night or something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, cool.
And fuck the Chiefs, go 49ers.
49ers.
My mom's team. I hope they win for her, but also mostly I hope they win because I truly despise the Chiefs.
Yeah, me too. Agreed.
I don't like that they've got Kermit the Frog as their quarterback. I don't like their tight end who's dating a piece of wood that everyone has decided is a great singer for some stupid reason.
So
Have you seen her stand sideways?
What is she just like a piece of paper?
Yeah, I mean, like, I swear, like I saw a video at her concert. She turned sideways and completely disappeared.
I mean, what is he doing with her? I mean, fine, it's Taylor Swift. I know, but I mean, he could.
Oh,
anyway,
you know
I don't wanna get
what?
into
That should have been one of the conspiracies we covered this week. There's the whole everyone's pushing the thing that the NFL is rigged because Kelsey is dating Swift so she can give support to Biden so Biden can win the election.
God! Imagine that works out.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does. If you see some of the calls that Kermit the Frog gets for the Chiefs, it's ridiculous. If the defensive line looks at him for too long, they get a personal foul call.
Yeah. Well, listeners, you heard it here. So if the Chiefs win, you know exactly why.
Yeah, the script is in, folks.
All right. Well, thanks. This has been a great episode, and we will see all you guys next week.
Woo! Go Niners.
Oh, nothing's happening here.
This is taking too long. I was going to say, this is awkward silence here. Taking a little long. Get Jamie on this.
We'll get Jamie on this. All right, wait a minute. I'm going to have to add it again. 1 second. Here, talk while I...
Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. This is a blooper behind the scenes stuff for you. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Yeah.